Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Style Esports Season 4 playoffs. Tonight we have the Void group. I do believe this is the finals. We have Disastrous Gang Academy versus Team Mythic. Hope everyone's evening is going absolutely fantastically. I'm the True Light. Casting alongside me tonight is Danielson524.
Oh yeah, we are looking at a very exciting game tonight. I believe one of these teams, I'm not entirely sure which one, was one of the underdogs coming to this, if I believe. You know anything about this, man?
Yeah, I think that was Mythic. They took down the favorites to win coming off of the round robin. So, like you said, that underdog story going up against DGA, who I think had the second best record, but we're already in this ban phase for that first game. Mythic going with that Shen ban. DGA, they have Zoe and Urgot off the table already.
Yeah, already seeing some very powerful champions taking off the play right here. We are seeing Ashe hovered over here by Mythic. She is probably one of the priority bans at the moment. There's about 2, maybe 3 really good 80 carries at the moment. It's mostly just Caitlyn and Ashe, but occasionally you do see something like a Varus, a Jhin, or a Kaisa pop in there. But Caitlyn and Ashe are definitely the top tier. And with Caitlyn left open, we're going to have to see if Mythic are going to be forced to ban that here on the red side, or if DGA are going to be able to first pick that if it is open. We are seeing some little unstandard stuff here at the ban, so maybe we might not see that, but Caitlyn is a very powerful champion at the moment, and I would not like to see that opportunity wasted.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I actually think, if I remember properly, Disastrous Gang Academy, they do have a sub, so those actually aren't bans, now that I recall. So the only 3 bans that are actually active in this game are the Shen, the Ashe, and the Rakan that's being hovered right now. If that does get locked in, I do think that's kind of interesting, because you were talking about the power of the 80 carry meta, and that conversation, like you said, is Caitlyn Ashe. I think it's very interesting that Mythic opted to ban Ashe and leave the Caitlyn open here.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit of a weird flex, and we're already seeing the Caitlyn hovered by DGA. Little weird champ over here for Mythic. We can get some weird champs in the chat. That'd be pretty epic, but not as epic as Yoni the cool, epic samurai swordsman, making his way here into the mid or top lane, or sometimes in the jungle. I have also seen him play bot. You know, on release, Yasuo was said that he could be played in 4 positions, everything except support. And so far, it kind of feels that way about Yoni. Hasn't really found his mark yet in the meta, but he is going to be locked in, so that's going to be pretty epic. Where do you think he's going to be, man?
I mean, I generally see Yone mid, then top, then jungle in terms of how often I see him in those roles. But Mythic, maybe they're just going for a ton of spicy picks. I already have that Yone locked in and hovering the Yuumi now, and I think that's really interesting just because of how hard Yuumi buffs up assassins. Maybe they're going towards that potential, like, for late game scaling. But I think the other issue is that Yuumi also gives adaptive stats, right? Based off of whoever she's hopped on top of. And Yone isn't one of those champions that actually stacks hard AD, right? He'll get his Infinity Edge, but there isn't a ton more, like, AD that Yuumi can actually start giving adaptive stats off of, so maybe they're drafting it for something else, maybe like an Ezreal. But DGA, they've already locked in that bot lane in response. Caitlyn Thresh, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I gotta say, this definitely doesn't seem like the bot lane you want to be picking a melee champion and enchanter support into. I'd really like to see that Yoni flexed in either the mid or top lane, but I gotta say, this Warwick is being hovered, and that's probably the most interesting pick I've seen right here. He is going to be locked in, and this is looking a little spicy right here. I love seeing some doggy over here in the jungle. He brings a lot of power there in his early skirmishes and his early fights clears too. You know, he's really strong when he gets that TMF power spike. He's very healthy in his first few clears, but he does kind of fall off pretty hard in the later picks of the game. He's really only useful for picks once he gets that. And we're seeing the Sejuani covered as well, kind of opposite. Has a pretty weak early game. Warwick definitely is going to have an easier time into that, especially because something like press the attack. But late game, Sejuani is going to be a monster and going to be very hard for him to deal with.
Yeah, not just that, but like think about how team fights look so far with both of these teams, right? Yuumi with that final chapter, Sejuani with I think Glacial Prison is called her ultimate, but all the other thing is Sejuani does have that synergy with Yone, right? You stick Yone in a solo lane, that is a melee champion
Ooh.
that Sejuani can utilize to get those solo stun stacks off of. And Yone can get it down really, really quickly, especially as he gets those levels, gets those items in. And maybe that's what Mythic wants to opt in here for. Go for the scaling, go for the team fight prowess. While DGA, on the other hand, they're a little more pick-oriented with Thresh and the Death Sentence, with Infinite Duress and Warwick. But I'm just so... It's so cool to see, I think, a Warwick pick. And I think it's like kind of like a tale as old as time, right? You know, Mythic, they got the cat. DGA are like, okay, we got to get the dog in here. So.
I didn't even think about that. That's a really good point right there. But I believe they were supposed to get... Now, I think they had to forfeit 3 bans on the side of DGA. Now, I guess that's their last 3 bans that they're just opting for. Maybe
or, yeah, it could be that, actually. They're just letting it take. Okay.
We are getting a note from our producer. It is the last 3 bans. The Zoe and the Urgot did count. You know, usually you would go for like a placeholder champion, like a Teemo or something, if you were banning it out. Or something just no one would pick in a competitive game. So, but Zoe and Urgot, very good champions right now. Yeah, they're just waiting out this 3rd ban. But let's see what they still have to pick. Now, this Yone, we did say he could be flexed. Might be going bot lane, could be going mid or top. They definitely still have to pick. I'd say that he's probably either mid or bot lane. They still have to pick either a top laner or an AD carry or a mid laner right here. And for rounding out this comp, I'd like to see a little bit more magic damage picked up over here from Mythic. Something like maybe a mage mid, I think, or a Mordekaiser could do a lot in this team comp.
Or they could just go for the AD carry pick, because that way they ensure that they get the counter pick and they can keep the Yone as the flex. And that's
yeah.
So opting in for Tristana, who got the additional buffs to the E recently. So I think it goes up to 50% more damage on your E with the amount of crit chance that you have, maxing out 100% crit. So once again, reflective, high scaling on the side of Mythic, right? You got your Yone, you got your Tristana, who gets the insane amount of attack speed and the steroid and an insanely high range. So Mythic, they're really looking to play it for late game so far. DGA, they answer with that next frontliner there to be alongside Thresh potentially with Sion.
Yeah, definitely. Sion is a little bit undervalued, I think, in the top lane at the moment. He is for the top lane meta, generally you kind of want to be playing around bot side more often, right? So the emerging top lane picks are scaly picks, i.e. something like a tank or something like a Kale, or someone who can just completely dumpster top laner. Something like the Mordekaiser or Darius can do a really good job of that. But Sion, he has insane scaling and a fairly good lane to boot. But LeBlanc is actually picked up here from the mid lane, and Swain, another potential flex pick, is being hovered for Mythic. Now, where do you think this Swain is going? I think he might be going with the Yuumi bot lane, you think?
That's definitely a possibility. Stick Yuumi on top of Swain, can send them both bot. That way you can have Tristana mid or Yone top, or the other way around.
Oh wait, yeah, I completely forgot about the Tristana. I think they might be sending it top lane, actually, the Swain into the Sion. Yeah, you think so?
We solo lane Tristana has been a thing, right? The past year or so, and for people who know how to play it, it's just really, really deadly, especially with the potential for a level 2 kill. But it's a little bit more of that solo QS type of deal you go for, at least as I think. I was actually hoping that Mythic would have opted in for a Galio, send Yone up top, sure, just have him play up against Sion for as long as possible. That's just going to be a hard farm lane, which is fine for both of those champions. And then you have Galio mid, who you could send to top lane, bot lane, work with alongside the jungler, and he's also a melee. Isn't as likely to die to LeBlanc, given that whole idea of magic damage mitigation. But they opted for the Swain, who also gets pretty darn tanky in his own right, just with demonic ascension, such as Azure. But yeah,
I'm actually really interested to see what the keystone for this Swain is going to be. Now, they do have some front line in terms of the Sejuani, and half a front line with the Yone. He sometimes builds a Death Dance, but he will be enough towards the front. Now, you could go something like the Conqueror if you are going to go for that kind of drain tank Swain sort of build. But I have seen people also going Phase Rush, but if you're going into someone like the Sion, I think Grasp of the Undying is actually the keystone you can go right here. You're going to get a lot of very free autos. You'll be able to stack up a ton of HP, both with that Grasp and with your passive. So I think that might be very interesting thing to see here for this top lane.
Yeah, and it looks like Swain will be going top for Newtown, seeing as how he has that champion currently, although there's always the possibility of a trade. And I agree with you. I think Grasp is actually very strong, oriented for laning Swain, especially into a matchup against the melee, right? Because it's just so abusable. You can stay in combat, you can fire off your shotgun hand, um, you can stack your passive, you can stack the health. The only thing, though, is I feel like Swain has been pushed a little bit more in the direction of Phase Rush, just because they've nerfed his movement speed rather significantly over a multitude of patches, and I think his base right now is something like 330, 325. So he really does need that degree of movement speed, or potentially Nimbus Cloak, just so he can flash into the enemy team and have that nice burst of movement speed.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I don't think you're going to want to itemize into something like the Rallies right now on the Swain, although if you do combo with the Leandres, it could be very effective into the Scion Warwick. I do think he's going to be building Leandres this stage, just because of how effective that is going to be. He is the main source of his team's magic damage. But yeah, in general, I am very excited to see how this top lane plays out. But we also have some other interesting matchups across the game. You know, Warwick does have that advantage there in the jungle. I'd like to see him going for some invades. LeBlanc versus Yone, two assassins there in the mid lane. Meanwhile, bot lane, Caitlyn Thresh, very powerful. And Tristana, you know she's looking for the solo kills. These guys are going to be popping off here in the early game. Considering it's kind of a silver gold level game, I'm anticipating a lot of solo kills here in this best of 5. Might even go to game 4 or 3, considering how these ones tend to usually play out. You know, the better team will usually get an advantage here and is going to be very hard to beat later on. Although, what are some trends you really notice in these low-level best of 5?
Well, I mean, I think they're just volatile, right? Things go back and forth all the time in games. Sometimes you see really, really big early game leads, but then teams aren't quite confident in terms of how to close the game out, and that gives the enemy team the opportunity to stall, look for that final explosive team fight, turn everything around and take the game. But that's just talking about games. We're talking about a series, and I think you touched on something really interesting there, which is the fact that these teams, you know, this is a series. They're in finals. It's a best of 5. So you might want to play a little like it's a marathon. Like, don't get too worried if you drop one game. Got to really focus up if you drop 2. But, you know, think about everything in the long haul. Don't burn everything or get really tilted off of one win or one loss.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you also touched on something really good there, that usually the team who, even if you're like 13-0 on the block or something, you're not really, you usually have a kind of a corralling sheep sort of mentality, trying to force your team to do objectives, which means a longer game time and more opportunity for the team who picked better scaling to potentially come back. Either way, I'd really like to see some gathering storms here on the AD carry, maybe on someone like the Swain. It could be very useful. But either way, we've got about 2 minutes right here. Based solely off this draft, who do you think is coming away with game 1?
Personally, these two drafts are so different, right? I feel like DGA, they have some late game scaling, but that's mostly on the back of the Caitlyn, right? Everyone else kind of scales down. It gets harder and harder for LeBlanc to get onto and assassinate carries, especially when there's a Yuumi around, especially when you have Swain or Sejuani. It's hard to kill. And Yone is just really, really slippery. On the other hand, though, Mythic, they have that weaker laning phase overall, but they scale up really, really hard. So if they are able to find some degree of early advantages, or at the very least stay even, they are very well positioned to win the late game, especially with that Yuumi and that Sejuani providing so much in terms of strong team fight potential. So I think my vote is going towards Mythic.
Yeah, either way, this first game is definitely going to be revealing of a lot of the team's playstyles and some trends that we might look to see here in the rest of the series. Any other final thoughts you have before we get into the spectator delay?
No, not very much. I'm really excited to see how this game goes. I really want both of these teams to obviously try to execute on their win conditions as best as possible. DGA, you got to get that win early. Mythic, it's just stall, right? Like, wait for your items to come in, especially with Yone and Tristan. You need those item breakpoints, right? Because you're not necessarily getting a whole ton done early in terms of damage, but that's only going to be game 1. This might be a marathon. So thank you to everyone for watching. We were just about to get into spectator delay here. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Style Esports Season 4, Finals of the Void Group right here. We got Disastrous Gang Academy on the blue side, Team Mythic on the red. I'm the True Light, and casting alongside me tonight is Danielson. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, and I am looking forward to a little bit of an invade here. We got the Thresh leading the way. He has his flash.
Whoa,
Ooh!
flash forward, gets the hook, gets the death sentence, jump out, and a flash heal coming from Pandas and Bob's Eye. Very good trade, I'd have to say. I mean, it's a net trade of 2 summoners each. Um,
Yeah.
Flash Ignite for Poiba, but then the Flash on Pandas and the heal for Bob's Eye. It's a pretty good trade overall, losing the Flash on the
You
enemy
know,
AD carry. And not just that, forced Pandas to start Rocket Jump.
yeah, not even considering that there are no other flashes there in the bottom lane. Yumi is a champion who does not take flash, and personally for the AD carry role, considering how low their base HPs are, I would rather have that available on my AD carry, especially when I have that Warwick, that powerful jungle early to help me. But I am looking at some of these jungle paths. We do see Warwick starting his red, looking fairly standard. Probably going to go for a level 3 or 4 top. I hope he doesn't full clear. That would just be trolling that champion. But we do have the Sejuani starting her top side. It's a path away from that Warwick. Going to be a little bit more safe right there in her pathing. Oh, but it might be the level 2 Warwick from bot. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, off the back of that Flash being popped. But the wave actually is that it's shoving towards DJ. I'm kind of surprised by that. Warwick looking for that lane gank. Zoro heads into the bush. It's in the
Yeah.
alcove? No, I don't think. I think he's just gonna go back.
I think
Yeah.
this might be a little bit troll from him right there. There's really no reason for them to be far up enough at all for Warwick to really get in range. And what does he have with him? He has his like W in his Q. I don't think he even took E early. You know that you're gonna run at them quickly. You know you're not like an Elise or a Lee Sin or a Jarvan or something where you really have a major power spike. Level
Yeah,
2.
and then even on top of that, there's just really not much Poiba can do, especially being down Flash. But the death sentence
Uh-oh.
lands. They hook him back in. Flay cancels
Ooh.
the jump. Pandas, he's going low. One more auto, but no, it's not good enough. And man, that gets very, very close there. Actually, I think if Poiba still had the Ignite, that might have been a dead Tristana.
Yeah, that Ignite early game, I think it's doing 90 true damage. So I think it would have been really close. Either way, she would have had to back and not stay in lane like she is right now. Speaking of backing, we are seeing Sejuani do that. She went for the classic 3 camp. Ooh, big thresh up. Yeah, she went for the classic 3 camp topside clear. Back in to get boots. Actually, that's a little bit interesting from that Sejuani. I don't know about that clear.
Yeah, I mean, I do think I agree with you completely. It's very curious that you go for those 3 camps on top and then you just completely back. Wow, Papa Boots getting a nice chunk in on Liffy right there. And wow, this bottom lane is continuously getting pressured. Poiba just, I feel like he's casting that hook almost on cooldown. Nice little flay right there, pulls him back in. Bob's I can't hop onto Pandas after that. But Poiba's actually taking a nice fair bit of damage himself while this name always gets me. Lanu Velza. Yeah, Lanu Velza.
Lanu. Yeah.
Yeah. While Lanu Velza actually is just a little bit more concerned with the clear. This time the sentence doesn't land as Pandas and Bob's Eye re-engage. The Ignite is taking down the Tristana. Auto attacks coming through. Can they get it? I don't think so. As now Sejuani, Brecken is here, has arrived to the party, getting looking for those stun stacks.
Oh,
but
TP though.
Able to get it. Oh, yeah, right. TP coming in. Living Dead guy doesn't find the Decimating Smash. There is no knockup. Wait, that was actually a huge TP. My bad.
Yeah, that was kind of troll, actually. I mean, like, he cast his Q knowing Sejuani didn't use her flash. You really got to wait on that cooldown to be blown before channeling your skill shot, you know?
It also is a little bit of a game of chicken, right? Who's going to blink first? And I guess you can say in that circumstance, Poiba is the one who blinked because he cast the hook. But he lands that one. There is no more mana for the E, though, as he ends up taking 2 more turret shots. Brecken here actually going to be trading. I think that is going to be first blood in this favor of Zoro. There's the knock up. And the Papa Boost has finally arrived to back up his jungler. Snaps back to it as Liffy tries to back up Zoro himself. Although, who got it? I do believe Zoro got that scuttle.
Yeah, he did use his smite to get that right there. And we do have a dragon spawn here in just a sec. I do know Warwick is probably one of the best early dragon clears. He can do that, I think, level 3 with his starting items, I think, you know? He's up there with the Olaf, with the Shyvanas. Wingmao Sejuani. Again, going for a really interesting build. Cloth armor and boots of speed. I guess she's rushing ninja tabbies. That just seems really suboptimal to me. Kind of losing to Boris over here on this one. But meanwhile, ooh, Papoose. Papa Poose. Is that how do you say that? How do you say that mid
I say
layer's name?
Papa Poos.
Papa
But
Puss. That was actually my nickname in high school.
oh wow.
No, just kidding. Yeah, it's actually really important to trade with your E on the Yoni. It's basically like having a mini Z death mark. So you go in, get a really, really safe trade because you can end it at any
Ooh.
time you want. And with that extra damage, it basically means a winning trade while that cooldown is available. However, early game is about 30 seconds. There's still a pretty massive cooldown on a basic ability, but late game it's going to be around 8. So that's pretty epic there when you get a little bit of CDR in like a Death Dance or something. But I think Sejuani just went for a little bit of invade against that Warwick. What happened there?
Yeah, it looks like they saw each other in the river. Maybe Brecken wanted to get something going forward there into, yeah, gets the control ward as well, but it looks like Zoro didn't actually see it, which is kind of unfortunate because now you have that little bit of scouting going down. Otherwise, here in the bottom lane, man, this pressure that Poiba continues to exude just by landing death sentence after death sentence, hook after hook, it's just putting so much forward play for DGA, and you really see that reflected in that CS lead right now, as Liffy has shown up here in the bottom lane. Yeah, just going to clear the ward. Not much to do after that. Although you can see Brecken is hovering around. Will there be much more action? I don't think so.
Yeah, I doubt it personally. I mean, like, I really don't like Liffy so far on this LeBlanc. He took the TP, which is kind of troll against someone like the Yone, who you do naturally have a lot of kill pressure into.
But it looks like Liffy and Zoro are here. No? Okay. Like, I feel like they're just dancing around each other at the moment. They're not hard committing for anything. No kills to be had. Although, if you just take a look in terms of CS differentials, roughly 600 in the favor of DGA.
Oh yeah,
Not getting a whole ton done overall though. In terms
that's
of
mainly in the bot lane too. I gotta say, La Nouvelza, God, these names is looking very good here on the Caitlyn. Not to mention the amount of pressure that Boib is putting out. You really shouldn't blind pick Yumi when someone like Thresh is available. It's just such a hard matchup.
Slow that Prowling projectile forces the flash from Zoro.
Oh yeah.
I do believe that gives them the opportunity, the breathing space to take this Cloud Drake, which feels pretty good for their team. You know, just have that additional ultimate CDR once everyone starts hitting 6. You can see Papa Poos already on that 7. But it looks like there will be a contest here coming through from DGA. Brecken getting very low. First blood over to La Nouvelza, and that was a beautiful flay onto Pandas as Poiba is just styling continuously, but the TP did go through. Newtown is here. Poiba getting very, very low. Where is that demonic extension pop going to happen? It does go through, and now La Nouvelza is down. Now Living Dead guy, he's trying to make something work here for his team, but he gets knocked up. Papa Poos, he has Bob's Eye hanging onto him. He's taken very low. The Ignite, the flash forward, the auto attacks, and Papa Poos gets the kill if Liffy can't keep his top laner alive.
Oh man, just a wonderful, really interesting fight here. Actually, I will notice that we do have a little bit of a DC. I think. Yep, it looks like they paused for a bit, but they are all good right now. But yeah, actually, no one ends up taking that early Drake. But what we do get is 2 early kills on a very powerful champion with the lead in that Yoni. He does have the Null Magic Mantle, but I think we're going to see Berserker Greaves. Yep, there they go. And maybe some components of a Zeal item. Ooh, actually, it's going to be Hexdrinker coming out early. Definitely going for safety. And what that is also going to mean is he's probably not going to be building the Phantom Dancer on Yoni. Now, I'm not an expert in Yoni builds, right? Colorcaster, by the way. But usually, I think it's pretty similar to Yasuo in that you want a little bit of takiness with you because you are a melee champion. It helps you out a lot in the team fights. But I have seen some people going for a Static Shiv for that extra burst damage. Like, personally, I think it might even be pretty good to go for something like a... what's the other one that builds AD? The one that gives crit. Not IE, the other one.
Stormrazor?
Yeah, Stormrazor. I think that might be a secret hidden OP, particularly if you get like a Wit's End or a Blade of the Rune King, something else that can give you a little bit more attack speed to help you max out your Q cooldown. But I'm going to be really interested to see what this guy chooses to build. Ooh, top lane.
Brecken has shown up, getting those stun stacks down, waiting for it. The stun goes through, the pullback as well. But TP being channeled from Liffy Floresca as Zoro has also arrived. He's looking for the slow. He's looking for the fear. The chains, they're going to get him. And Liffy Floresca gets that kill. Now he's on the board with a kill in his pocket. He had 2 assists previously. But yeah, I actually completely agree with you about... the potential of Stormrazor being like kind of like hidden OP on Yone, especially because you also get the, I think it's like a 50% slow on an auto attack once it's all charged up there,
You
right?
know, I'm gonna have to look that up. If that is true, that'd be pretty epic. But either way, what's even more epic is getting yourself an early Rift Herald. The plates are still active. That's about 500 gold in your pocket if you just pop that near a tower. Not to mention all the extra value you get from potentially getting a little extra thing on there from that 75% for half a second on the Stormrazor I'm seeing. That's
Yep.
a pretty big slow right there for that. Kind of reminds me of the Death Blade. But either way, we're seeing
in the
something in the
bottom
bot
lane, the
lane.
fight is breaking out. The final chapter is being channeled as Lanu Velza is getting lower. The flash out from him. He isn't going to take the lantern. And now Poiba seems to have been left to the wolves, so to speak. But the snapback seems to have saved him. And now Pandas walks onto a trap. Is he going to go down? The death sentence lands. Now Papa Poos is in a really bad spot. He got hooked into tower range, pulled back into it. And that's a kill for Lanu Velza as the fight continues to break through. Ace in the hole. It isn't going to get anyone. But now Zoro, he looks to be getting more, as now Brecken also falls on the back end of that fight. The aggression coming through from Mythic is nice to see, but wow, it did not work out on that end.
Yeah, you know, it might have been Papapoose that was left to the Wolves, but it certainly wasn't Lanu Velza in his bot lane. His Warwick did come in very, very huge there in his roams and follow-up ganks here this entire game. Not to mention how good the Living Dead guy on Sion is with his presence here in the bottom lane, just constantly using his ultimate and his teleports to win these fights, get that early momentum that we really need to see here from this team. And it will ultimately result for their team in a Cloud Drake, probably one of the strongest early Drakes in the game at the moment. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I think Cloud Drake, just in general, off of giving you that early CDR, can enable your team to just have, or not like have, but potentially force fights better, especially if you are the team in the lead. And DGA is that team in the lead, right? Like, they're the ones with this almost 3k gold advantage at 12 minutes. So having the ability with your ultimates up more often, especially like with Sion, right? There's so much potential.
Yeah, there's a lot of champions in this game who their kit really depends on whether or not they have their ultimate available. You know, someone like a Galio or a Malphite or something like that. They're just a completely different champion when they have their ultimate.
In the bottom lane, Panda gets aggressive. Lanu Velza getting very low, and whoa, that was a huge amount of burst, and there's the shutdown. Fortunately, it goes into Bob's Eye's hands, but in the top lane, solo kill for Newtown as Mythic. They get it back, and they turn the kills even. Whew. That Sion passive slaps, man.
Yeah, you do get a lot of bonus AD, and I think a little bit of attack speed when you, or move speed when you do use your little ability that you get in your dead guy phase. Either way, this guy is named the Living Dead Dude. You think he's a Sion mate or like a Yorick mate or something?
I mean, you know, there's a number of Living Dead dudes in League of Legends, right?
I don't know, maybe he's a really big fan of that one play or Evil. No, what am I thinking? Night of the Living Dead, that movie from the 50s. You know, you can actually watch that for free on the Wikipedia page. It's old enough that it's in public realm, but we are seeing a bot lane gank happen here.
Yeah, Zoro and Poiba, they tried to make something happen as Pandas just rocket jumps away, and that's just the safety in general, Tristana. You can see, not Poiba, Pandas actually has that cull in his inventory off of the early back that he had to do. So there's, you know, I feel like that's just so like reflective of what Mythic wants to do in this game, right? Which is just scale, right?
Oh yeah.
Off those 2 kills, right? The shutdown onto Lanu Velsa, and then in addition to that, the solo kill in top lane, Mythic have kind of clawed their way back in terms of the gold deficit they were in. They're still 1k down, but it had to feel quite fantastic.
Now, speaking of feeling fantastic, we're seeing a lot of knockups here from Sion. But, ooh, something happened in the bot lane, too.
The tower has been taken, and Brecken is here looking to get the stuns down. Panda's able to get the kill onto Lanu Velza. As, hey, I mean, that's a trade of a kill for first tower. So, I think in gold that...
I think the first tower is worth slightly more. I believe that's 400 or 500 total gold for your team versus a kill on a 2 and 3 Caitlyn. That might be 200 gold. But there are other things that you have to take into account too. You know, the Caitlyn's not going to be farming while she's dead. You might get a little extra pressure off that. But the pressure from a tower is probably a little bit greater from that. And overall, I'd give the trade over to the one who got the tower. But you were talking about this earlier about how it's really important to get someone who can really utilize the adaptive stats from a Yuumi very well, and Tristana is a champion that scales marvelously with AD. You see her not even opting for much crit or attack speed in her kit, immediately building that BF sword pickaxe. She has a lot of great scaling on her abilities, and we're already seeing like the amount of pop damage you get there with that sword of pick. Either way, really great stuff from this bot lane.
Yeah, like you said, with the, like it's the pop damage, and there's not even the damage amplifier from crit. That's actually the damage is getting amplified off the auto attacks that Pandas puts down, as well as the PTA, working so well in favor of the Tristana right there. But yeah, like overall in terms of gold, the gold lead is actually starting to get slightly smaller, still staying towards that 1K in favor of DGA. But I do feel like Mythic, they know that they're not terribly far down. Although DGA, they are sieging these towers pretty well.
Oh yeah. One thing I would like to talk about is Kalen's actually a very good pick into the Yone. You know, he has his little spirit form when he decides to go in, and you can actually just put a trap on top of that spirit form because he's going to have to come back to it eventually, and you're able to just get a free headshot crit auto, which late game it's going to be doing like, I don't know, like 1,000+ damage. Absolutely insane stuff, especially when you get something like that Storm Razor there for yourself. I will say though, I am looking at that Yone build, and I know the Phantom Dancer builds out of a Zeal and a Dagger. And again, we all know the Lifeline passives don't stack there with that PD and that Hex Drinker right there. So that'd be pretty embarrassing if we saw him build that PD. I'm hoping for the Static Shift.
I mean, Boris is the MVP of a lot of games, as we all know.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, maybe he's gonna sell the Hex Drinker. He just bought it for the lane. I gotta hope for that. Ooh,
That'd be wasteful.
Up. Okay, nothing gonna happen off that.
I don't know, but yeah, we do have another dragon on the map right here. Ocean Drake, very impactful. Not too good when you only get one. Ooh, but
nice Death Sentence lands. The final chapter has been channeled, but a nice Decimating Smash coming onto Pandas, but it's only Papa Boost that's gone down. TP was channeled from Newtown, able to get that Eye of Sauron onto the mid lane. Looking to stack up the passive. Whoa! Jump in forward from Pandas, looking to get the auto attack stand, looking to take out Living Dead Guy, but he's just so tanky as Brecken now comes in, looking to back up his team, and whoa! Instantly 3 kills. Living Dead Guy looking to get the auto attacks with his passive is able to take out Brecken right there, but that was pretty huge. Just the full commit from Mythic, getting those 3 quick kills. They lose Brecken on the back end of it, so I don't think they want to look for the Drake quite yet. But man, what a fight.
I think they could actually go for this Drake right here. They're only fighting into 2. They have 3 right there and a Yone on the way. And yeah, with Caitlyn back, and this should be pretty free, actually, even if they don't have smites. Oh, what's happening?
Cancel the back that look to be potentially maybe going for a contest. Liffy is here. LeBlanc has a fair chunk of damage, but they don't have vision in. So this would have to be 100% blind, although Living Dead Guy has arrived, used his own TP, snap back from Papa Boost into the Dragon Pit. Liffy is there. What's he going to do? Fate Sealed from the Yone goes forward. Liffy getting very, very low. And it's going to be the blue team that picks up the Ocean Soul. Or not the Soul, Ocean Stack, my bad. But Boiba and the rest of DGA, they are firing forward after losing that fight. There was no hard commit on the Dragon or to look for a fight, so it looked like Mythic, they got hard spread out right there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Looks very, very unfortunate from that team. They got such a big fight earlier with that Swain ultimate. Unfortunately, it was on cooldown for this one, and they were just able quicker to rotate on the side of DGA. They had that Warwick passive. They had everyone coming in there for that second dragon. It's going to mean 2 dragons to 0, as well as the mid lane tier 1, a very important objective, and the second Rift Herald going the way of DGA. Just taking everything on these maps, just really controlling it, you know, and I gotta say right now, I've been staring back at this guy's inventory for a while, but Papa Poos hasn't bought anything for about 4 minutes, and is he just not farming or something? I want to know if the answer what he's gonna buy right here.
You know? I mean, you take a look at his inventory; he must have spent some degree of gold. Only has just about to hit 1,000.
So, he's backing. He's backing. What's he gonna buy? What's he gonna buy? Is he getting the PD or is he getting Static Shift? What are you thinking, man?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Those don't stack, dude. What are you doing?
Oh, someone get this man a doctor.
Oh man.
Oh dear. That's highly unfortunate. Hopefully Papa does end up selling the Hex Drinker, because those definitely don't stack. Although I think in terms of priority, it's just whichever one would proc first, right? I think.
Let me read this real quick. PD, if you would take damage that reduce your health below 30% and get a decaying shield of 320 damage versus Hex Drinker, yeah, health below 30%, 210 magic damage. So I believe that would give you the PD passive. I'd imagine the designers made that one get priority to the larger shield. However,
Yeah.
Riot Games, big old spaghetti boys, not entirely sure how this is going to work right here, actually. But I tell you what is working is some of these builds I'm seeing on the side of DGA. I'm liking the Luden's Echo for that early power there on that LeBlanc, as much as I criticize her for going for that TP instead of that Ignite. I'm liking the Cinder Hulk here on the Warwick. He's frontlining for his team. He went that Tiamat. And interesting first buy here for the side has a Spirit Visage right there. I'm not entirely sure if that's the best first item, but it's going to make him all the more tankier with those grass procs, with those triumph procs in the team fights. Really huge stuff from this guy.
In the bottom lane, Lithy Foresca is getting autoed up, taking a lot of damage, and is going to go down just as Papa snaps back. Oof.
Yeah,
man,
definitely.
Yone, like, he actually has so little AD built, but off the one item, having 50% crit, as well as, I think Yone's passive is that every other auto attack does 50% magic damage. It stacks up.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very good champion for those 1v1s, considering your E gives you, I think, when it's fully stacked, 30% bonus true damage after you activate it, which is absolutely insane for a basic ability. Not to mention that both your Q and your W are auto attack resets. So you just have so much burst, so much mixed damage, so many tools to work with right here. But Sion looking a little rough right here, 3-man on him.
That guy does get hit by that prowling projectile, forced to use the ultimate to get away. Does get slowed up off the back end of the Glacial Prison, but isn't disabled because you are unstoppable through it.
Yeah.
I really just want him to sell the Hex Drink here, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Do you think he knows is the question? I gotta say, I accidentally did this exact same thing in a ranked game yesterday. I mean, and it was just like,
have made this mistake. But fight is happening right here in the river as the final chapter is being challenged. Brecken does end up going down, and now Bob's no one to jump to, will end up dying. Double kill now in Zoro's pocket as Ping's going into that mid lane for DGA.
Oh yeah, and I gotta compliment him right here. I think there might have been the argument to go for Baron. They do have the Rift Herald right here, which should help him get an easy tier 2 and a proc here on the inhibitor tower. But yeah, I think that was actually pretty smart not to go for the Baron right there. It was on the map, 22 minutes, but it also would have been pretty dangerous.
Nice little death sentence on to Newtown, who just gets completely eaten up even through the demonic ascension. Papa boost next on the table, as you said. Shelly did get that second charge. Ooh. Oh no! The death sentence! Boiba, you are just smurfing this game, finding hook after hook. And now Living Dead guy doesn't find the decimating smash. But DGA, they're well positioned. I think they're looking to end.
Oh yeah, we have, oh my god, just so much burst damage from these guys. But yeah, they're hammering down these Nexus towers, actually. Yumi almost going down. And yeah, they just look like such a cleaner team this game. I think this is game. Yeah, 5 men on this. This is 100% their tower. They got everyone down.
And Papa Booster coming up in a couple seconds. Nexus already going down. Newtown has respawned. They are trying to get the final auto attacks on the Nexus, but Zoro, he's looking for the cat. He's trying to make it happen. Nope.
Oh.
DGA, they take it in 23.5 minutes off of just some very great hooks from Poiba.
Oh, yeah. Just insane over here, Poiba, on this Thresh, And I don't anticipate seeing this again in game 2. I think it might get banned out. They're going to be seeing this Thresh in their dreams tonight. I think that might be Nocturne, actually, not really fitting the flare. But the sad thing about that is you can't actually ban out all the hook champions. Even if they do ban this guy's Thresh, there's always Nautilus, a very strong champion in the meta right now, as well as Pyke, a little bit of a flavor pick. And even then, Blitzcrank is also seeing play in LCS right now. I do think the blind pick Yumi was a very bad pick here for this bot lane. I really would like to see something like the Karma, who was open, picked up maybe if you were going to go for something like that blind pick, or maybe just one of the several much better picks, especially if you're going to go for something like an Enchanter. You could have gone for a blind pick Nautilus, very safe. Morgana, who's also open. Either way, there are better things that could have gone here. They didn't have the early power to match the draft from DGA, and we're going to have to see some changes from Team Mythic if we want to get an easier game 2 for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, like, thinking about it, I think that the concept was, okay, we'll pair Yumi up with an AD carry that has a dash, has a means to get away. But the reason Yumi Ezreal works so well is because Ezreal can buffer CC, and he has a blink as Arcane Shift. But that's not what they opted for, and like you said, DGA, they made that earlier game-oriented composition work. They take the first game in this best-of-5 series, and they're up. So we'll be right back. We'll see how it breaks down going into the second game. Don't go away. Hello, and welcome back, guys, gals, and all the non-binary pals out there, to Style Esports, Season 4, Void Group. We just got through Game 1, DGA taking it in a very fast fashion, although that was very much in line with the draft that they went for themselves. I'm the True Light. Casting alongside me tonight is Danielson. How are you doing after that first game, buddy?
I always love a quick series, and we definitely got that over here. From Team DGA. They took their little advantage into a bigger advantage, and while they were shoving down that mid lane, they just managed to somehow end the game. Either way, I'm looking forward to a quick series right here. We're already seeing some interesting bans come out in the Caitlyn, and right there. I guess they're kind of scared of the power they had there in the lane. Interesting, though, Thresh is not being banned yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just Poiba exuding so much pressure, finding death sentence after death sentence in that bottom lane. The Caitlyn obviously is just a really powerful pick in general, but one thing that I think is kind of worrying for Mythic, just thinking about that previous game, or at least the champ select, was that they banned Ashe also, and this time they banned Caitlyn on blue side. So essentially saying Pandas can't play the meta AD, which is pretty
Either of them. Yeah, that is a interesting choice right there. I guess he's just more comfortable on some of the pocket picks, AD carry, in the Tristana, or maybe something like a Ezreal or a Kaisa might be coming out right here. Either way, they missed a ban right there. I don't think they... Well, do they have to keep giving up bans?
I think they lose 3 for the series, like as long as they're using the sub, they can't have those back 3 bans.
Okay, that is interesting. Either way, it is the fairly confident in his Yoni performance there in Game 1 from Papapoose. He did play pretty well, but I'm not entirely sure if it's a champion you really should be first picking. Either way, Thresh is also very big in Game 1. Is being picked out here. Pretty standard to pick your bot lane. And yeah, AD carry also hovered right here in that Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, red side picking bot lane first phase. Thresh, Ezreal, they perform pretty darn well into most bot lanes. Mythic this time around, I think you mentioned it before, might want to see a Morgana against the Thresh if you're just going to leave that up there.
Oh yeah, definitely could be very good into this kind of a team comp. I would also like to see maybe something like a Karma, who has a lot of early power in that lane. Maybe not very good in all ins, but does provide a lot of sustain and really time for her AD carry to chunk out whoever she's fighting. But it is going to be the Lucian picked up over here. Technically, we got 2 flex picks. Yoni could go mid, top, or bot. Lucian could also go mid, top, or bot, but I believe it's probably with the Yoni mid, Lucian 80 carry, and the Yuumi. Don't pick the Yuumi into Thresh again, dude. What are you doing?
The run back. They go for Yuumi for Bobsai. I feel like Lucian Yuumi is kind of like dissonant in terms of what they want to get done in terms of the lane.
Oh yeah.
Just is so short range, and Yuumi doesn't want to be close, especially to something like a Thresh very early. But yeah, I guess Mythic, they do feel like perhaps Game 1 was a bit of a gap, just a fluke. They opt in for the Yuumi again. Wow.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do have the Jarvan 4th actually picked up here for DGA. Usually you see something like that there in the jungle, though. I mean, technically it could be flex top line, but, it's definitely going to be there in the jungle for DGA. Either way, this is going to provide a lot of early power to them, something they were able to capitalize on definitely there in the early game in that Warwick. The Warwick was left open, though, so I have to wonder, why do they not go for that 2 games in a row? Are they just not feeling too comfortable there with the Dowd? Or what do you think the reason is behind not picking Warwick?
Perhaps they feel like they just want to get something potentially even more dominant. Warwick still is an option since those back 3 bans aren't there, and maybe they just wanted to see what DGA would opt for the jungle, since looking for that does work rather well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the pre-game lobby chat, I did decide to leave a little message for Papapoose over here before we get into any other finishes right here. Yeah, in Game 1, the X Drinker and the Lifeline passive on PD do not stack. He is leaving me a thank you for reminding him of that. A little embarrassing there in Game 1.
Like everyone makes mistakes. You're only human, right?
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days, as the great philosopher Millis Cyrus once said. But either way, we are seeing the last ban come out here from Mythic, meaning we will have to get into our picks. We still have both of the solo lanes still pickable for DGA. I would like to see a repeat on some of the early prio big money picks that we saw from DGA. They're already banning out the LeBlanc and Echo, but there are still a lot of picks they could go for. I think Syndra would be very, very good with this kind of a matchup, or they ban the Zoe, but other than that, I think they could go for something like a pick comp or poke comp, that sort of thing. However, they do have the Jarvan. Jarvan Galio is also an incredibly good combo, though probably not too good into all these dashes they have with Mythic. Either way, I want to see priority in the lanes. Let's see it, boys. What's this pick going to be?
They might pick for something flexible, or they could just go for Sion again. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
You love to see it. Yeah, definitely.
Kled is just a bit of a bully in the top lane, honestly. You land that bear trap on a rope, and then the violent tendencies, auto attacks. Ooh, it's so much damage. Especially, like, I think playing Kled is super fun, just because you can almost hear the enemy team tilting when you remount in a 1v1 or something.
Yeah, I completely agree. He is going to provide a lot of that early power. You know, you can engage those fights, abuse your lead, and he's going to be playing into Swain, it looks like, in the top lane. I think that's actually a fairly good lane for Kled. Usually you would think the ranged champion has the safer time there, but Kled, he has 2 dashes. He has that little pullback on his Q. That's not too hard of a skill shot to land there, especially if you get some early pressure there from that Jarvan. Swain seems a little bit troll here in this comp. I think in the pure 2v2, you basically have a hyper winning top lane, and I'd really like to see them abuse this lead, you know, see some early ganks there in the top lane, or whichever prio mid laner they're trying to go here for DGA. I want to see some early power. Who's it going to be, man? Who do you think it's going to be?
I mean, they still have to go into the Yone, right? So, like you said, the Syndra is that available option, is meta, does pretty well. Maybe
the Kali.
I was going to say, if they want to go for something safe that they can combo with, potentially you would think about Orianna, but
oh, I don't know about this.
Azir?
Yeah, that doesn't really fit their team comp too well. He's more of a 2-3 item scaling sort of mid laner. He does provide a lot of damage at that point, and he can engage with his wall, but I mean, I think this is actually a pretty good lane for Yone. I'm not entirely sure if Azir is a counter pick, and I think you're giving your team a little bit of a disadvantage by not picking as much early power like you had there in the LeBlanc. This might just speak to his limited champ pool, I guess. This is about a gold-silver level game, so I gotta say, I'm not liking the Azir pick right here, but you know, if you're good at the pick, you're good at the pick. Just go for it, man.
Yeah, and maybe he thinks that he can control the lane against a melee champion like Yone a little bit better with the extra range those Sand Soldiers give. But like you said, I think just in terms of like scaling and fights, it doesn't seem like a very great fit for the comp that DGA have together here. Or perhaps he is a little bit more of a late game insurance tool. Because Kled and J4 will scale down, although Ezreal does a lot of damage late anyway.
So we'll Ezreal's more of like a mid game sort of champ. You know, you get your either Iceborne Gauntlet or the Triforce, you get your Manamune, and you really go for something like the Lucidity Boots and the Caulfield's Warhammer for that 45% CDR. That is probably when you are the strongest in your gamer time right there. You know, when you get that 45%, when you just pop off with those Qs, with those Ws, with that 6-second E cooldown, max rank, I think, and you're feeling really large and in charge at that point. You will eventually get outscaled by someone like the crypt building Lucian, although maybe we'll see the Manamune from this guy. I always love seeing Manamune on an 80 carry. It provides so much damage at about 2.5 items. And not to mention, it does apply on the Lucian ultimate. Could be very, very deadly for any members that gets hit by that, which I think they are going to need if they are going to go to late game with this. Either way.
On Lucian ult?
Yeah, I've seen it built a lot on that champion, actually. I mean, it's probably a little suboptimal
because of Lightslinger as its passive.
Oh yeah, I mean, it does apply there too. Yeah, it's very, very good. It's why you also see like Blade of the Rune King built on Lucian, because you get the 2 auto attacks with your passive. But yeah, a lot of viable builds he could go. He does have the Yuumi to buff him up a little bit here. Hopefully we'll see an easier time of them dodging those thresh hooks in lane. They did get really just bullied pretty hard right there. Although Lucian is a much better champion in lane against someone like an Ezreal than the Tristana against the Caitlyn right here. But yeah, you know, let's talk about these lanes. I really prefer the Kled Jarvan into the Swain Lee Sin there in the top half. I think Azir was a little bit troll in the mid lane, especially into someone like the Yone. But bot lane, you know, this could go either way for me. We saw how big Koiba was there on the Thresh, and if we get a repeat of that, I think this could be a very easy game too here for DGA.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, just in general, when you have such a good game, you really feel like you can like get that going, right? Just continue that forward momentum. And on the other side of that, you're playing against the exact same people. Bo5 will be on the Yumi again, a pick that really, I think, in both of our opinions, didn't work against Poiba's Thresh here. So I guess a little bit of the mind games going on with the runbacks on both of those supports. But we'll see how it breaks down.
Yeah, either way, we have a lot of interesting things to be looking at game 2 right here. You know, we have the interesting 2 early game junglers here rather than a Warwick into a Sejuani that we saw game 1. You know, Jarvan, Lee Sin, they're both probably going to be going Warrior. We might see the Cinderhulk on the Jarvan, but they have a lot of early power. You know, they can both gank at level 2, although you probably want the level 3 on Lee Sin. They both have very impactful ultimates, especially in a team fight. And they're definitely going to have to work it out for them if they want to create these leads where their team is strongest. So I got to ask you, man, based solely off this draft, not ignoring how they played in game 1, who do you think is coming away with the W?
Well, I'm a superstitious person, and considering I was wrong the first time, I might be wrong the second. But I feel like I'm going to go with Red Side again. Like, just going off of DGA's forward momentum, I think that they might be able to execute, especially if Poiba is going to have as fantastic of a game this time around as he had the last time in game 1 on the Thresh. And I think the other thing that you meant, or two other things you mentioned, one, I think Kled is a pretty good lane into Swain, especially because when you go forward with the Joust, you can avoid the never move, Swain's E.
Oh, yeah.
And last, just in terms of the damage type here that Ezreal is going to be playing into, I think Iceborne Gauntlet really pays dividends against effectively the entirety of the enemy team, because Ezreal staying back means that Swain can't hit him, and Iceborne Gauntlet is armor against... And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, all of our wonderful watchers here on Style Esports to Game 2 of Disastrous Gang Academy versus Mythic. I'm the True Light. Casting alongside me tonight is the ever wonderful Danielson.
Oh
And
yeah.
like in Game 1, we got that level 1 going.
Uh-oh. Do they know?
Uh-oh.
I don't think they know.
Oh no. Newtown, this is not the spot you want to be in.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That was
And the
fat.
hook does land. That is going to be first blood. No summoners blown, except for Poibus Ignite. But, you know, like clockwork, DGA, they run the level 1 invade. They get the kill off of it. And this time it's in the top lane. That does not feel good if you are on the side of Mythic.
You know, there's a lot of different schools of thoughts or where you should stand when you're 5 pointing to prevent an invade. I usually think you should stand a little further up, not so back in your jungle, because it really constricts what you can kind of see, you know? If I'm bot side, I usually like to stand a little further out of a tri-bush so I can, you know, see if they're actually coming before they just get right up next to me with like a Nautilus hook or a Thresh hook or something like that. And this guy was standing all the way back there on that swing. Didn't even bother to use his flash. He already knew he was dead. But yeah, either way, we're seeing a little bit of an early lead going to the team with a more powerful early game. Who got that kill? It was Kled. He bought boots. Yeah. Interesting pickup.
It was Lithy. And like you said, got those boots of speed, which actually enables him to dodge that never move, which is really important for Swain very early on into something like a melee matchup. But we'll see how it goes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, we saw a lot of really interesting things here in this game. We saw the Yuumi run back despite how poor that pick seemed to perform there in that game one. We see Poiba on his Thresh again. It did not get banned out. And we saw him getting that pretty epic invade there. And once he gets this level 2, I might think we might see some more pretty epic stuff here in this bot lane.
I think bot lane this time around... Ooh, fight going on here? No? This time around for the bot lane, things seem to be a little bit more even. Previous game, you did see that Poiba and Lanuvelza every single time did hit that earlier level 2, and there is that degree of aggression reflected right there as Bo5 does eat the flay, takes the auto attacks, but on the other end of it, Lanuvelza got pretty hard pressured by Pandas just dashing forward on the Lucian right there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Meanwhile, in the jungle, I didn't have enough time to check the paths. Either way, it was the early bot side clear by Lee Sin. He is level 3. Meanwhile, Jarvan going for a little bit of an interesting clear path right here. He did just get his level 3 as well, but bot side has a
in
fight.
The bottom lane, Poiba does go forward, finds the flay, but he isn't able to get much more done. The hook does land. There's the death sentence. Ignite onto Lanuvelza as he arcane shifts away to safety. But I think that is just the lack of power, so to speak. You don't have the Caitlyn this time around. Instead, you have the Ezreal, who is strong in his own right. But eating the auto attacks from Pandas almost dies there. I think if Pandas had actually ended up using the exhaust, that could have been a kill.
Yeah, potentially. Ezreal did still have both his flash and his heal, so I think it was a little bit more of a calculated play, I guess. But yeah, either way, the way that one really didn't end up going their way is they got a lot of early damage trading their auto attacks onto the Lucian, but then it was actually the Yuumi who was hooked, so they had to switch right onto that. If they did land that early hook or that later hook onto that Lucian instead of the Yuumi, I think that would have meant him dying right there. But either way, Lee Sin just getting spotted out there in the mid lane. Meanwhile, he's getting double scuttled by Zoro UT on that Jarvan 4. Really, really good play here by Jarvan. You should not be losing both your scuttles on Lee Sin.
Yeah, like you said, both of those are very early game oriented jungles, but Zoro, he is here in the bottom lane. The flay does land. Where's the death sentence? The hook, is it going to land? Oh. No. Well, Pandas almost actually walked back into it, but it didn't go through, which means Zoro wasn't able to get the gank off. In the mid lane, though, wow, perma autofill, eating so much damage from Papapu's Yone.
Yeah, really, really interesting stuff.
Okay,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know if they should keep this Jarvan up here in the bot lane. We saw that something happening there when he was on the Warwick there in game 1, where he came bot level 2, even if they really didn't have the resources to go for sort of a kill. But they have something now here with the Lee Sin. So I think if Jarvan doesn't show back up, no, it's going to be called off either way. Interesting play here.
So one thing that happened there was Poiba tried to Lantern Zoro in, but then Zora EQ'd to the Lantern.
Oh.
So I think that's why they called it off, because there's not much of a point looking for a gank if Jarvan doesn't have EQ. But gosh, in the mid lane, perma autofill is just getting so low. And one thing that does work definitely in Yone's favor is the fact that he doesn't have to rely on mana, so he can
Yeah,
just keep going.
I completely agree. We do have the teleport available here on the Azir. He hasn't died to the Ignite just yet, so he's going to be getting a little bit of attack speed and CDR there in the Stinger. I see a lot of Azirs going for something like the Lost Chapter so they can really keep up that harass there in the lane. You see sometimes people even going for like a Comet there in the runes, but it is going to be the scaling option there with the lethal tempo on the Azir. A little weird champ on there, I gotta say. But we on the bot lane, we do have the tier built on the Ezreal and a Vamp Scepter on the Lucian. Confirm we're probably going to see a Blade of the Rune King on that champion. Level 6 available for Kled, though. Hasn't backed yet.
Yeah, and you guys saw up there in the top lane, Liffy did land the bear trap on the rope, got the pullback for the Grievous Wounds, and Newtown actually popped the potion while that Grievous Wounds was still active. It's active for 5 seconds, but here in the river, there is a fight. Brecken did start up the Dragon, and yeah, the Cloud Dragon does a lot of damage. Perma autofill, he's in a really bad spot, doesn't even... no, yeah, he can't get the Emperor's Divide down, and very easy first blood for Papapoose in that mid lane. Nice little punish with the Fate Seal getting that knockup.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay there by Perma Autofill. He had both his flash and I think he had his E available for himself.
He did
there. He could have. Oh, okay.
He got,
either
he got
way,
the kill and everything. He still died.
Yeah, either way, he should have tried to get out of that R hitbox there from the Yoni. It's a fairly slow skill shot, but it is very impactful if you land it. And so because he was hit by that, did get all that extra damage there in the E. And you know, you're giving kills to someone, or assists rather, Lee Sin got it, to someone who snowballs very hard. But whether or not he can be more impactful than he was there in game 1 has yet to be seen. Does have the early Zerker Greaves, a lot of attack speed there in that item. Really smart pickup there for Papapoose.
Yeah, hopefully this time around Papapoose does not opt in for the double lifeline items, although you did warn him this time around. So
yeah.
not thinking that one's going to happen. Up in top lane, something we haven't looked at in a little bit. Ooh, as Lithy Foresca does go forward. There's so much damage from that bear trap on a rope as Newtown forced to pop the Demonic Ascension just for the health, just defensively. And the mid trades continue to go in the favor of Papapoose.
Yeah, you know, he did just kind of waste his ultimate on the side of Swain. I think that if he does stay, now he's going to go for back, very safe option, but he could have just seen the re-engage there with that Kled ultimate. That would have been pretty really cool if he got that. Either way, Jarvan is making his way bot side. I'd really like to see some more impact from these junglers. Only 1 kill participation here each at about 8 minutes. Not really what you pick these kind of junglers for, I gotta say.
Yeah, and it wasn't quite a coordinated play either, right? It was just like,
oh wait,
hey,
hold up, real quick. Look at this build over here from Yumi. Is that the Quadra Fairy Charm?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I did see that earlier. I have a friend who is a Yumi player, much to my chagrin, that does like it has explained this to me, and it's just because of those mana changes on E. You don't have the regen early enough that you actually kind of rely on having fairy charms in your pocket so you can just get the mana regen in for yourself.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty weird.
Yeah, I mean, it looks weird when you see it. I believe it is like 15% of your max mana of that. So even if you go for something like the tier, it's just going to be taking up more of your pots. So really the only play there is to just go for constantly replenishing mana. So it does make sense there. And I believe it builds into a lot of your items. You build a lot of, what is it? Idol? Forbidden Idol, I think
Idol.
is the one.
Yeah, and that builds into things like, you know, or like also Chalice of Harmony. For like a Fiends or something, but gank happening here in the mid lane. Sonic Wave does not connect onto Perma Autofill. But Oiba, I feel like he should have been spotted out here, but Newtown forced to bring the flash away. There is the hook. There is the charge, getting the auto attacks in. But okay, good. I was gonna say, Zora, you might want to drop that dome soon, but as Liffy, I think he was gonna be safe no matter what. But just a little bit of coordination there, very clean. But in the middle lane in the river, there is the fight now. Papapoose and Brecken trying to get something on the Perma Autofill, who does not have any more mana. Brecken trying to get away, but oh no! Papapoose betrays his jungler with a flash away, but in the bottom lane, is Lanu Velza gonna survive? But he's able to trade back the kill through the arcane. I don't think True Shot Barrage actually came through at that moment, but the tower damage did stack up. The heat did take Pandas down, so kills happening all over the Rift.
Yeah, not to mention that it was actually the kill going onto the Yumi instead of the Lucian. So a little bit of an uneven trade there. But speaking of uneven, let's check out some of these CS over here. Like we predicted, Kled, who's absolutely dominating that top lane matchup, can provide a lot of space right there. But Ezreal actually falling behind there against the Lucian, down 21 CS in a lane that you can actually farm pretty safely with a champion like the Ezreal. So that kind of sucks right there. But they are playing against the Lucian. I believe Ezreal has a little bit better mid game than the
Mhm.
Lucian. So, we'll have to see how this one plays out. Either way, this could be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that is slightly reflective of that CS differential is just the fact that Poiba was spending time in the top lane, then in that river fight as well, and that gave Pandas and Bobside the opportunity to just push forward, crash the tower in, and I think they also got 2 turret plates off of that, so feels pretty good for the bottom lane of Mythic.
Hell yeah, dude. Love to see it. Either way, yeah, we're seeing fairly standard builds from everyone. I gotta say, I'm not too big of a fan of Blade of the Rune King there here on the Lucian, using his ultimate to clear that wave. But not too many people besides the Jarvan, I guess, who's going for the Cinder Hulk, are going to be stacking too much health with that. Who creative play from Azir. But yeah, we see the Mana Mute on the Ezreal, very standard. Nashor's Tooth Rush from Azir, no mana available for that champion. Warrior on the Lee Sin. Yeah, overall, just standard stuff across the board from these guys.
Yeah, you also see Zoro opting in for the Cinderhawk, even though he has 2 kills in his pocket. Although I do think that's fine, potentially just because you want to be that front line as the game goes on, especially into something like a Yone.
Yeah, I'd really like to
Uh,
see him pick up something like the. I know a lot of tank junglers who build the Cinder Hulk are finding a lot of value in a Locket of the Iron Solari.
But
Ooh,
here
Lucian
in
just
the
walking
bot
into
lane,
that.
Poiba does find another death sentence. Panda's getting very low. TP being channeled now by Mythic Floresca, who does have charge available. Are they going to look for a dive onto the cat? Yes, they will. There's the hit onto him under tower, and the Rift Herald does decide to join in for the fun. They get the charge off. I think that's going to be tower as well. Ooh, Brecken, he gets hooked. There wasn't the hard commit, though, because perma autofill hadn't quite arrived, although I do believe that will still be first tower, although it's going down so incredibly slow with so many members here
They got plenty
for
of minions.
DG bottom lane.
Yeah, and this will also turn
It's
into
so
the Mountain
tanky with
Drake, I
how little
think.
damage it's taking.
It's almost
That
gone.
is
It's
a
almost
515 armor and MR tower.
gone.
Oh gosh. But like we agreed on, it's going down. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Papa Boost, he is looking for more, looking to get some pressure down onto perma autofill as the dragon has been started up. This could be the second for Mythic this time around if they're able to get a steal, but it looks like DGA, they're the ones with the inside route. Oh, Brecken, what are you doing? Force the flash
Oh.
out after taking the Sonic Wave in. Lanu Velza pressured by the culling, and the pushback from the Emperor's Divide is going to mean Pandas goes down. Lanu Velza gets hooked back in by that never move, does end up dropping. The fight continues. What can they get? Brecken and Papa Poos, they looked for more, but the snapback means the aggression can't continue.
Yeah, interesting play right here. I gotta say, we have the Manamune picked up here on the Ezreal and a Sheen. Major power spikes for the champion. But yeah, really unfortunate they couldn't get a better angle off that trade. They did manage to get that Mountain Drake for themselves. It is going to be very, very good for someone like the Thresh or like the Jarvan, who will be frontlining for their team. But overall, we are seeing that it is the Ocean Drake, meaning that the win condition is going to be more tankiness for whichever team gets that. I always love seeing an Ocean Drake on someone like the Swain or Mundo, someone who's already just drain taking. Or like, with the Yumi too, especially, just, absolutely insane stuff if they do end up getting the next 3 Drakes. Or if we end up seeing or if the game even ends up going that long. It was a 22, 23 minute early game there for DGA. So if they keep this up, they might be able to get some creative pushes and work with this next Rift Herald, which is spawning here in about a minute 30.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that Rift Herald will still be on the table. Ooh, and perma autofill just continuing to get smacked up by those double swords from the Yone. Poiba has arrived. Is he going to look for more? Death Sentence doesn't land. There was no flay. Yone stays safe, but here in this top lane, what can Papa Poos get? Nothing, although the Prowling Projectile does land the slow onto Lithia Floresca. Oh, wow. That is a nice chunk from the never move into P. What is that? I always call it the shotgun hand, but I've never really known.
The shotgun hand?
That's hand. Yeah, swing. When he fired that, fired out multiple balls.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Ezreal. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's the Unlimited
But Poema
power.
autofill, he might end up dying here. Fate Seal does go for it. Emperor's Divide Ignite is ticking down, but it's gonna be the Azir dead on the fight. Papapoose able to get that solo kill, although I don't think he can join the rest of his team because he is quite low here. Reckon I don't. Yep, they're not gonna commit for the Sonic Wave. Would it be pretty awkward to do that into that issue? Like almost like the dragon fight that just happened a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, you know, they don't have winning side lanes, but what they do have is a very, creative here on the Yoni. Papa Boost looks very good here on this champion. And I got to say, you know, when Mariah releases someone with dashes and with damage, that champion is usually going to be broken for about 2 years before they actually balance it. You know, they end up removing half the mechanics on it. They end up adding more conditions to the dashes.
Have you seen that new champion coming out?
Oh my God, disgusting. It's like a rotating wind wall with a Reaper ultimate from Overwatch, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely not a fun time or something fun to be playing against. But Samir isn't out yet, not on the Rift.
Meanwhile, Yoni, actually, I believe he's not going to be played at Worlds, I believe, because like they're just anticipating him not being balanced for that. So I think that might actually be influencing pro play a little bit. You know, pro is less likely to want to learn him since they can't play him at Worlds. But either way, I think he's a very, very strong champion. Ooh,
but here in the mid lane, flash forced by Papapoose as Poiba is here. Is he going to look for the flash hook? No, he wants the Flay first. There is the Flay, and now Papapoose is in a bit of an awkward situation here. Is he going to be able to survive? Yes, he is. His team has arrived. Brecken does go forward. There's so much damage. Emperor's Divide does go down, kills Papapoose, but on the back end of it, Perma Autofill has gone down. Zoro almost gets killed there, but the death sentence from Poiba is huge into the Flay, and those are multiple kills now on the side of DGA. Newtown, he's still alive. He has the Yuumi on top of him, but they aren't able to make it happen as DGA off of a heroic hook from Poiba makes the fight work.
Yeah, a 2 for 4 in the favor of DGA. Like we said, they had the lead. They have a lot more early power in these champions, and I don't really like the decision of going for these fights on the way of Team Mythic. You know, you have a scaling comp there. Well, somewhat scaling comp here with a lot of your picks. You really don't have the time to match the early power that you're playing against from Disastrous Gaming Academy. I really would have liked to see them wait off a little bit before going for some of these fights. Maybe try to sneak some objectives out of the way, but you really just don't need to be going for these this early.
I mean, at the same time, like to Mythic's credit, they committed to that fight initially just to save Papapoose, but the entirety, Liffy, he looks to be in a pretty bad spot here. I think he was hoping to use the dismount to get over, but the blast cone being the hero. Zoro eats the Sonic Wave. I don't think Brecken's going to commit for it. Gosh.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I do, you know, we see LS commenting on Twitter sometimes about the use of Black Cleaver on a lot of champions in the jungle, and it does look like Lee Sin is going to be going for that right there. This will probably be one of the instances where it is a good pickup because of all that armor is being built, but what they do have is an almost dead cat
coming in. That does mean Liffy Fresca is going to arrive. Poiba does find another death sentence onto Brecken this time around, but Papapoose is able to put him into the ground. Brecken does go down off the back end of it, as so has Pandas, as now Papapoose and Bobzai are running away, and Newtown kind of left all alone here. Does have Demonic Ascension available. There is the pop. Is he going to go forward with it with his mid laner in support? No, I don't think so. They're just trying to zone, but are they going to commit? There's the Emperor's Divide. Pushes the Swain and the Yone away. The Dragon is still going down. Who's it going to go in favor of? It will ultimately be in the favor of DGA, but on the back end, the fight continues, and it goes in the favor of Mythic off of Yuumi just hopping around Newtown and Papapoose, and they're able to get all the kills through it. I'm not sure if that's worth in terms of just committing for a single ocean stack in that case.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. They are going to lose a lot of pressure with this, and they're giving a lot of kills over there to that Yone. I believe he's sitting on a little under 3K gold there in his inventory, meaning this next buy is going to be a very, very big one over here for him. Probably a BF sword, a Cloak of Agility, and I think he'll have enough gold over there for a Vamp Scepter. I think not enough to finish his Infinity Edge, so really not a lot of point in going over there for that pickaxe for himself. Either way, this is going to be an absolutely huge swing in power to the people who need that power to be working with.
It's like he heard you. Actually had the had the pickaxe and went for the Cloak of Agility instead.
Oh yeah, definitely. He did go for the.
That's like what, 40% crit for Yone?
Yeah. This brings him to 90% crit there on that
Yeah.
build. You know, he is like Yasuo where you get his crit doubled. You get 25 turning to 50 off the PD and 20 turning to 40 off of the Cloak of Agility. So 90% crit right there. Either way, so you're basically critting every single auto attack right here, even if it is a reduced crit. I believe it's 10 or 20% reduced damage there, which means that if we do see some pickups over here, like the Randuins on the Kled or the Jarvan, two champions who are very good builders of it, this could be a lot of reduced damage. But
Ooh, okay. Well, the Rift Herald has been spawned, is going to knock down this tower here in the mid. Are they going to walk it forward to get that second charge off? Doesn't look like it. Nope. Although, maybe they're committing down towards Papapoose, who is in this bottom lane. Yeah, ping's going onto him, but I think they're calling it off now as he's out of vision.
yeah, you know, ultimately, this is just giving a lot more time for the scaling champions to really make themselves known in this. We haven't seen really any play on vision around the Baron yet, despite it being on the map. So both of these teams are really just saying they don't plan on doing anything for at least another 5-10 minutes, you know? Ultimately, this is going to make the Azir stronger. This is going to give the Yoni his maybe 3-item power spike. He's almost has the Infinity Edge, you know? On a champion like Yoni or Yasuo, I try to get my Infinity Edge by about 20 minutes is really when you're schmoovin with that kind of a build. If you can get it any earlier, you're basically smurfing. But in a competitive game where you're not getting as many kills, you try to get it by about 22 minutes is where it is right here. However, he is 4-1-4, is actually just now pick up the Infinity Edge.
Yeah,
So
fair
he
enough.
is schmoovin there on that pick. Yeah, really great stuff here from Yoni.
Yeah, I mean, Papapoose, you're hitting that 2-item spike for Yone now at that 100% crit point of power, especially because the defensive capabilities that Phantom Dancer provides is really strong for him. But like you said, it has provided perma autofill and Lanuvelsa to somewhat scale up. Taking a really quick look, I think, yeah, Lanuvelsa's Manamune is almost completely stacked, and that's going to be a pretty big spike for him.
Oh,
Although
yeah.
he did opt for the Triforce this game, which I'm kind of disappointed by. Like, I think he really wanted the defensive option with the Iceborne.
You know, when I see all the tankiness being built by the Jarvan and by the Kled, especially someone who usually goes for a Black Cleaver, I think it might be kind of a good pickup. You know, you get a lot of poke, you get a lot of kiting ability there with the Phage passive. Again, I'm not entirely sure what the point of going one damage item into tank on the Kled was. Usually, you should go for like 2 or 3 with that sort of thing. But we're seeing some kind of play here in the top lane.
Yeah, you can see them all stacked up. They might be looking to dive onto Newtown. The charge has been called in, and there is the pop. Demonic Ascension used, and the Swain going down ever so slowly. But Papapoose, he comes in, gets that Fate Seal. The tower shots are going to be ticking down. Poiba does die. Lithely Foresca, he can't get the auto attacks, can't get the remount. Bob's Eye nabs that one up for himself, and it's 2 off of a dive. Whoa, Brecken, he does go in, but he got chunked out so hard. The auto attacks put him into the ground, and Lanuvelsa now flashes to safety. Emperor's Divide is used. Perma autofill cannot escape the Yone and the Pandas and Bob's Eye as they continue on the hunt, looking for the damage. But whoa, nice chunk from Lanuvelsa will mean that they have to snap away, run away. Although, another fight in the favor of Mythic this time around. The Yone is just completely activated.
Absolutely. This man looks insane here on Yone. You know, Release Yasuo had just so much power to his kit, and you can definitely see how Riot was being very cautious with his numbers here on Yone. But this man making a newly released champion look absolutely insane. Not a too difficult thing to do with a Riot game sort of thing, but what he's gonna want to do here with this lead is make his way to that dragon. Definitely getting a little bit too much power over here to DGA, or time to DGA.
Late, he's still batting.
Yeah, this is looking a little rough. Like, you don't want to be giving up Soul Point Dragon.
Ooh, but Brecken, he has jumped in. Where's the smite? Is it going to land? No.
Ooh.
Looked for the steal. Actually even got hooked into the dragon, but Brecken couldn't find it. Ends up dying off of it. And that puts... almost got it wrong there. DGA up to Soul Point, which, as you said, will be that Ocean Soul, ever so important for either of these teams to give you the sustain in the fights off of dealing damage to enemies. So, man, even
free tower too. What is this?
Yeah, like there's no one here to defend. That's kind of curious. Although Pandas is finally arriving, he has no one to back him up. Poiba is pressuring away. The last chapter is being channeled, and now Zoro eating a ton of damage. Is he going to get away? Prowling projectile into the Fate Sealed. That's so much damage. Lanu Velza, one more auto attack does him in, and now that's 2 down on the side of DGA. The Baron is available. Brecken has respawned. You got to think that's on their minds as the pings are going down.
I think he's getting about 45 AD right here from the Yuumi. That provides a lot of extra damage there in his all-ins, and he's making great use out of it. Just getting multiple kills, insane ultimates, great ease here on the Yone, and this might result in the Baron for them. Jarvan is still down for another 10 seconds, and they're doing this very quickly.
Yeah, it's burning down already, below half health. Perma autofill is here, gets the control ward in, but I don't think they're going to commit for anything. TP being channeled now by Mythic. The engage has happened. Perma autofill goes in, but it's blue team that gets the Baron. Perma, is he going to be able to get out? Oh, he's able to grab the lantern at the very last second. True Shot Barrage does a nice chunk of damage to Pandas, but it doesn't find any kills. Whoa, that was a very precarious situation for DGA. They weren't able to get the steal, but they don't lose anyone, which isn't the worst situation they could have been in.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why you go for the fight there at the Baron. Like, that should just be free. You don't have your jungler. They have their jungler in the Lease, and someone who never has trouble securing objectives. And, you know, one interesting thing that I would like to point out for DGA, although they don't have as good of scaling and they are playing into this absolutely insane brain Yone over here, they are finally picking up the executioners in the Yasuo and the Jarvan. So maybe they won't have to deal with as many annoying heals from the Yuumi, who is providing a lot of early power to her team on Papapoose and Panda's GG when he's casting his ultimate. So maybe we can see some kind of a turnaround right here. But they are going to have the Baron fight, so they don't want to fight into that.
Yeah, I mean, Yone being such an auto-attack reliant champion, Bramblevest pays dividends against the healing that Yuumi can provide. Ooh, engage as they go in, and now Papapoose with that Fate Seal. They find Zoro already, but is he going to go down? Yes, he goes down off the very back end of it. Lithely Foresca has died as well. The fight continues. There's the death sentence. There's the hook. There's the flay. Is there going to be more? Perma autofill chunked out very, very low, but Lanu Velza is still alive, is still full health, and that actually means the Baroned up team, they're the ones who are falling back, and they can't find a way onto Lanu Velza. He almost has flash available, not quite up yet. There's the arcane shift, and there's the hook from Poiba coming up again. What a hero! And I don't think they can continue to hold this tower against the Baroned up minions, although Perma autofill has gone back to base. He is here. Ooh, okay. That was really aggressive just to, you know, find that arcane shift forward, but there was no real punish.
Yeah, I was going to say the only real punish they have for the Ezreal is in the Yone. He's absolutely huge here in these fights. And, you know, that's an 0-5 Lucian, 2.5 item there on that Swain. No one really does so much burst of them aside from the Yone. He doesn't have too much to worry about there. I actually would have liked to see him go a little bit more aggressive there at the end of that fight. He is online. He has his Caulfield's Warhammer. He has the Executioners. He's got the 45% CDR. He also has a Dragon spawning here in about a minute. Whichever team gets this Drake will really set the stage for the rest of this game. If we get the Soul here onto DGA, that could be the power they need to really come back from these mid-game team fights going majorly the way of Papapoose. Or this could be the turnaround in terms of Dragons for TM. Either way, this next minute is going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's going to be spawning in under 40 seconds now. And one thing I just noticed, Newtown still only has Boots of Speed in his inventory. That definitely doesn't feel good. Because that means he's ultimately completely reliant on his team to do the engaging and get CC down so he can get something done. But definitely not a great feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, he does have a lot of CD, not too much CDR with him. He only has like maybe 20% from runes. He has 10% in the Fiendish Codex, but nothing else really for himself. He is going to be very reliant on those E's and actually hitting them. He's been pretty good so far, especially in lane, but we have Dragon spawning, so we'll have to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, as you said, the Dragon is spawned, and DGA, they know that Bush is control warded. They're trying to pull the Dragon out, force the enemy team to come forward. As you do see, the Brecken is on the flank here. I don't think that's where you want to be, as Lee Sin does find the shift forward. Is the steal going to come through? No, it does not, and that's Dragon Soul over to DGA. But Papapoose, he is fighting. Brecken has fallen. He has the snap back. The hook doesn't land this time around, but the fight is going in the favor of DGA as they're able to get that clean ace, potentially. Yes, it is. with that Ocean Soul coming in. And like, that's just the power of Ocean Soul. Like, look at that. There were so many low health members on the side of DGA. They get the soul, they take the fight, and they heal through all of it. There is no grievous wounds on the side um, of Mythic, and that's why DGA are able to secure so many kills, keep so many members alive.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would have been a very close fight if it wasn't for the Ocean Soul going the way of DGA. The fact that they're able to get all that healing, I think I forget what the exact numbers here on Ocean Soul, but I know it has like a 3-second cooldown and it's about 100, maybe 200 healing when you hit that ability. That is just so much to deal with, and they really don't have the pick capabilities aside from someone like the really good engage from an ultimate from Papapoose or an E landing here from the Swain. They just don't have the capabilities they need to fight against this Ocean Drake. And after that, unless they get like a miracle Elder Steel, I think this is easily
Final
DGA's.
chapter being paneled. They are going forward. They are able to nab up perma autofill. Zoro maybe next on the table here as he stands. And I do believe he just wants to be that sacrificial lamb for the rest of his team. 2 quick kills now in the favor of Mythic as their mid lane is getting shoved in by those newly spawned super minions. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's their way forward, right? You know, you get Yuumi to just cast ultimate and like try to force a fight off of it.
Yeah. You can get some picks with some of the tools you have, but it will be very difficult into this. Let's look at the scoreboard right here. You've been talking about how big Yoni is here in these fights, but that is 11-4 Ezreal right here. Absolutely insane here on that pick, especially when you compare it to Lucian over here. Still working on the first components of his second item here at 31 minutes and his 1-6 and 10. Really just not what you want to be seeing there on that pick. He's not going to have very much scaling. He's going to be looking very, very bad here in these fights. And that is just not what you want from your 80 carry here 30 minutes into a game. He's supposed to be the main carry starting now in these fights. Really rough stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Lucian has never really been that classical late game carry for a lot of people, and then he's just dying so much. And I think the other issue is Bob's can't be on everyone simultaneously and healing everyone simultaneously. Where given the spot where Papapoose is, you just want him to stay on there as the Baron has actually been started up. They haven't swept this out. It's being spotted. Oh no, the control ward! It doesn't see the ward. So
they know they're there because of the Swain W. But engage.
Yeah, and the engage is there. The charge has come through. Damage going on to Newtown. He is healing up in the demonic extension. And Papapoose has gone forward. Is he going to get the kills? No. But Zoro has already gone down. There's so many low health bars, though, on the side of Mythic, and they don't have the Ocean Soul. Papapoose, he's going to get killed by the Sand Soldiers, and now that's a triple kill for Perma Autofill as they look for more. Pings going into the mid lane. They want to end this second game.
Yeah, we have 2 TPs available right here. I think Cled's going to do the exact same. Yeah, instantly going to the base. They're into the game. Yuumi cannot hold off all these members. And this is a 2-0, it looks like, for DGA.
Yeah, going for that 2-0 perma autofill, trying to pad the KDA a little bit more. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to manage that. But Ocean Soul is OP, and DGA, while things looked a little bit shakier this time around in that early and mid game, they're able to pull through, go up to 2-0. And they take it rather convincingly off, like after with the Ocean Soul has come through for them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this game was very, very close. It was looking like in the earlier portions. We saw those like 20-minute fights where Papapoose on the Yoni was just coming up absolutely huge, especially with Bob's buffing him up, healing him whenever he needs it. But after that Ocean Soul came the way of Team Disastrous Game Academy, it just looked 100% on the way of there. I'm being told that Mythic asked for a 5-minute break right here. So they're going to... let's just take a little bit of time right here. Let's relax this one, How did this one really play out, in your opinion, Mr. Play-by-Play?
I mean, I think, we did talk a lot about Papapoose, and one thing that you did mention, though, was eventually La Nouvelle really started scaling up, doing more and more damage, and that's just reflected in the fact that he did the most damage in this entire game, right? Almost 32k, which is, clearing the next closest, which was Wayne with 30k. Also, personal opinion, you should not be hitting a 30-minute mark in a game and you don't have your boots completed.
Yeah, that did seem a little bit rough right there. Kind of troll, especially considering how much damage specifically from auto attacks he was probably taking in a lot of these fights. I mean, you are Swain where you can just Zanya's in your ultimate, and in a situation like that, boots aren't providing too much value. Although the argument can be made that you're the only source of magic damage for your team, so Short Shoes could have provided a lot of value. No one has any MR aside from the Death Dance on the Ezreal. Yeah, Short Shoes could have been a very good pickup for this guy.
Yeah, so perhaps Newtown probably should be adjusting that build a little bit more, finish those shoes a little bit, or Stark Shoes a little bit earlier, but that didn't happen, and DGA, they took the game after that Ocean Soul and after 2 really good fights for them, and they go up to match point in this final in the Void group. Don't touch that dial, we'll be right back. And welcome back, folks. Like, we're already up to match point in this best of 5. DGA up 2 games after a very strong game 1, turning like a little bit hazier in the second game, but they're able to come away with a win after that. Ocean Soul coming in so huge for them. I'm the True Light, and casting alongside me is Danielson. How are you feeling after that second game, man?
You know, we saw a very convincing game 1, and game 2 looked a little weird, champ, right here. Like I said, I think that could have easily been Mythic's game 2 if they would have been able to get that, prevent that Ocean Soul being taken by DGA. That was really the turning point over here. But already I'm seeing some pretty interesting things coming out right here from both these teams. We're seeing a continuation on the Ashe Caitlyn ban over here from Mythic. Again, not either of those tier 180 carries picked up by these guys. I mean, they are blue side, so they really shouldn't be banning this if they are AD carry, can play either of them. We are seeing the Yoni ban from DGA. Mythic, they were really relying on that in the first 2 games to get them that lead. And if that's really the only trick that we have here from Papapoose, then that might spell doom over here for them. Maybe he can play the Yasuo or something. Ooh, Thresh, hold up. That's not who I expected to see, Thresh.
So, Bobzai actually going to take away the Thresh from Poiba, who's just been so dominant on it in these past 2 games, really making those invades work. But DGA, they're hovering Xayah. Do you think they go for Xayah Rakan?
Maybe that is a very strong pickup. I'm not entirely sure if Rakan is the pick here in the Thresh, but I don't think these guys care. They want that early power, and they're definitely going to get that with those kind of picks. Echo is also a very good champion here. Can be flexed into multiple roles. He's a very good jungler, especially when you really need him. He snowballs very hard with Dark Harvest and can do a lot for your team in the early to mid game, but can also be played there in the mid lane, especially into DGA's champ pool. I believe we've seen him on the Azir, and who did he play game 1? The LeBlanc. Very good into both of those picks right there, and he's going to be picked up right here. But last pick, I think you go for the jungler right here if you're not going to look for some kind of a flex pick like a set or something. Actually,
I was gonna say you could pick the AD carry since the bot lane, or since the DGA already picked their bot lane. I think that's what they're gonna go for. They actually take the bot lane the DGA went for last game.
Yeah, kind of an interesting pickup right here. I guess they're saying, yeah, you're not that good. It was just your bot lane picks right there. So we're actually gonna go for that easy game. I win. Bye bye. But yeah. Other way, we have a lot of interesting things we're looking right here. I'm really interested to see how this Xayah Rakan will work for them into the Thresh. Ooh, DGA on his classic Warwick again right here. Yeah, I am loving it. Probably pretty good here into Echo. He has a lot of burst damage, and with your E, you can prevent a lot of that with that work. They won't have any other bans right here to really use. They traded that Urgot ban for the Yoni, so we'll have to see if Mythic pick up that Urgot.
Yeah, I mean, I would also say that with a Warwick pick, you have infinite duress available. Go on, like, and if you land that onto someone like Ezreal or like Echo, and you combo it with a Rakan engaging as well, that's a lot of CC onto, you know, a single target, and it can really allow you to just burst down or take someone down like Ezreal, like Echo, who tend to be like those little like slippery champions that are really hard to kill.
Yep. You know, actually, I think, now that I think about it, they didn't ban the Urgot. I really think that'd be a good pick over here for DGA, considering the amount of upfront pick and damage potential they have right there. Sure, they might be a little bit light if they go for something, if they don't go for something like a heavy damage mage mid, but getting one easy pick and turning that into multiple is an easy way to win team fights at this kind of a level, and they certainly have the tools to do that. It really speaks to their quality of their play, considering they've been down 3 bans this entire series. So far right here. Really great stuff from DGA.
Yeah, and Mythic, they continue their bans, I think, from the last game. They, well, not quite. They ban, I mean, with the LeBlanc, but this time they adjusted again. They take Kled off the table. So now, Lithy Floresca, maybe we'll go for that Urgot, like you mentioned. It could definitely play quite well into a number of different things.
Yeah, it could be a very good pickup here for the top lane. Very good blind pick as well, but Renekton saying they want that early power for themselves. Really, really good pickup. Again, not that good at scaling. Maybe they can pick something. Ooh, Ornn would actually be a really interesting pickup right here. If you don't know what you're doing there on Renekton, Ornn can just have all that power for himself. You know, if you take the armor, he can go for a W max. If you take the magic resist, you can go for the Q max. Either way, you have a lot of creative tools to work with there in that lane, and he's really just like a face check champions for bad top laners. But ooh,
Wait,
Hold up, it might be mid.
could that be Ornn mid?
I mean, we have seen it played before by Bjergsen in the LCS. I mean, best mid laner in NA, put him on a tank, you know? But he can be played mid lane, especially to a lot of melee matchups. But they don't know the mid laner they're playing into. It could also be the Gangplank mid lane, I say. You know, I'd say it's actually a lot more likely to see the Gangplank mid, you know? He's traditionally played into a top laner a lot, usually because you want to pick him to something like a tank to get those easy kind of stacks. But he has been played as a mid laner before, and to someone like the Azir, he definitely has the tools to work with. Not to mention how good that champion is in some early skirmishes. You know, you get a passive proc, you get a barrel down, you get a Q. Especially once you get that Sheen, you are large and in charge, especially compared to someone like the Azir. You know, you get the Sheen, and you can just poke that guy out so easily. I mean, what tools does he have to really deal with that? He wastes his E cooldown every time you have Q. That might actually be a very good pick for lane for them. Probably not as good as the Yoni, but I'd like to see how that Gangplank works out.
Yeah, I mean, Papapoose was on Yone in the previous 2 games, so definitely really interesting to see him on. I think something that's generally a little bit more passive, especially very early on with Gangplank, right? Like Gangplank, not the greatest of laners, wants to stay safe, especially early, you know, get the bonus gold. But otherwise, I think this is just a very interesting draft overall coming through from Mythic, because it's kind of contrary to what they ran in the previous 2.
Yeah, really interesting stuff here from both these teams. You know, you have some scaling there in that mid laner. You know, everyone loves a late game Gangplank. You also have the Ornn items coming in there at 14, probably around 25 minutes for that Ornn. Meanwhile, you know, we do see kind of a repeat for DJ. They have a lot of early game power in the jungle, in the bot lane, in the top lane. You know, again, I think Azir is a really weird champ kind of a pick. Definitely going to have his struggles against the Gangplank if this guy, if Papapoose knows what he's doing there on that pick. And if they do send that Gangplank there into that mid lane. Either way, I think the champion that I'm really going to want to be watching here is Ibrekken here on that Echo. I always love seeing an Echo come in here in those clutch games. This could be the one that decides the series right here. And, you know, you get one kill early just off of something random. You tilt them a little bit. You just have so much power to be working with there in the rest of that early mid game. Really, really great champion for swinging around a game in your series.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Echo is a very big champion, can make a huge impact, and like you said, completely pivotal and can turn things around, I guess, unless your name is Jensen.
Jensen on Echo Game 5. We love it.
Oh, God. But
hey, he's going to Worlds right now. He's going to Worlds.
This is true. It's true. But what I would say here is that... okay, so yeah, it's gonna be that Gangplank mid. So we'll see how it plays out. Otherwise, I really am quite interested just to see, like you said, what Ibrekken is capable of doing. Didn't have the strongest showing on the Lee Sin in the previous game, but perhaps with something that is, stronger, I guess, that's dynamic.
I mean, like he didn't look very strong on the Sejuani tank game 1. He didn't look very strong there on the Lee Sin there in game 2. You know, at the end of the day, these are gold and silver players, so they really don't have such a fierce mastering of skill shots and mechanics and that sort of thing. Where a pick like Warwick actually comes in very clutch because there's very few things to mess up aside from like missing an ultimate, something like that. A champion like Echo, you need to pull something off early to make that happen. I'm not entirely sure if Ibrekken has the cojones to sort of do that in this series, but you know, I'm a believer. You know, I'm an optimist. I'm a believer. I couldn't see her if I tried, but then I saw her face, and her face will be the LeBlanc band coming out here. Almost finished with the second round of bans.
Yeah, I mean, we are in that Chancellor proper. We already know what's going on since everyone's just locking in their champions. But you know, one thing, it's happened in every single game up to this point. It is match point now for DHEA. It's worked twice. Will it work thrice? Are we gonna see that level 1 invade?
I doubt it. They do have the Thresh on the side of Team Mythic. They don't have too good of a level 1. I mean, Rakan is kind of a good invading champion, but he's really not sort of that S tier Blitzcrank, Morgana, Thresh, Pike pick you really sort of look for with those early engages. However, you know, it's worked out for them. Maybe that's really just how they know how to play. Ornn's a pretty easy champion to get level 1. Same thing for Echo, Gangplank. Maybe not Ezreal. You know, he can kind of start his E, especially if you don't take those points early. But, you know, all right. We are in the clutch scenario here. It is game 3. It is 2-0 in the favor of Team Disastrous Game Academy based solely off the draft? Well, you know what? No, consider everything here. Do you think we're going to see the 3-0 here?
I mean, like it's actually a really difficult question to ask because Mythic has really switched things up, at least in my mind, right? Their team comp going into this third game is really, really different from what they've gone in the first two. But DGA, they're a little more continuing on the same beat that they've gone for. It hasn't broken for them yet, so I'm confident in their ability to close out the series.
All right. I'm happy to see it. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be really dependent on how Papapoose and Ibrekin manage to show on their champions. No, if it turns out this guy is just a smurf here on the gangplank, he's going to have a really good lane here for that champion. Maybe Ibrekin on that Echo can turn one pick here onto the Zera into several and just winning out fights with the Warwick and Renekton there in the top lane. But either way, game 3 is all going to depend on how they play the game right here. You know, we love to see it. Any other final thoughts you have before we go into the spectator delay right here?
Not in particular. I think the most interesting thing is, at least in my mind, is just to see how is Lithuforeska going to play into something as tanky as an Ornn, because it's just so hard to kill, like especially as the game goes further and further in. Otherwise, you know, this is match point, right? DGA, they really want to close this out. They want to win, you know, their Void group. But Mythic, they have their backs up against the door, or up against the wall. They are trying something new. Okay, I got the phrase wrong, but you know, but they want to try something new. They switched it up in the draft. I'm excited to see how this game is going to go. If this series will end, or will Mythic turn it around and try to march us on the path to a reverse sweep? Don't go anywhere. It's going to be a real banger of a game. And welcome back, coming into this game 3, this potential match point for DGA in this series in the finals of the Void Group here on Style Esports. I'm the True Light. Casting alongside me is Danielson.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, like, they did stack up. I was thinking, like, are they going to go for the invade? But they didn't. I'm kind of disappointed, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you see the pings coming out over here from Team Mythic, and they're just like, guys, you have to watch here. They're just like pinging all those channels, but no, they realize they have a weaker level 1. They're just going to go for a little bit extra vision right there. Really look for potential, I don't know, wacky stuff from the Echo or Thresh, I guess. They are stacking around that Triforce right there, so I'm not entirely sure if they're going to choose to go for a leash here on the Echo or go for some kind of early cheese here. There is a lot of power in that Ezreal Thresh level 1, but I don't think it's stronger than the Zyra Rakan. A lot of early power in both those guys.
One thing I do notice as a difference, at least in the bottom lane, is that you see that Poiba opted to go in for the exhaust on Rakan this time around, which does help for lockdown and chase down, especially with Rakan and the quickness once it's available. On the other side of it, though, Bobzai has the ignite, but not much more that I can see is like super interesting in terms of starts. Newtown does have the available though.
Yeah. I mean, we see fairly standard pickups in the runes. You know, it's the Grasp on top, the Dark Harvest Echo, Grasp on GP. I think we saw the press the attack last game on Ezra.
Level 1 engage. There's the Grand Entrance. Pandas eating a lot of damage, already down to around 200 health. And, that's just the power of Zyrakan, right? You just go forward very early.
Yeah, definitely. So much early power. I know a lot of people like to take Hail of Blades on both those champions just to get a really cheese early kill off right there. You get that 300 gold, I do think it's worth it, even if you lose out on a little bit of scaling. But yeah, either way, I'd love to see some really great stuff. And Papa Boost looking so good here on this gameplay. You know, a lot of people are used to seeing him. Yeah, a lot of people are used to seeing him there in the top lane. Oh, fight bot lane.
Oh yeah, the fight is breaking out in bot lane. Indeed, as Bobzai, he actually missed the hook, got hit up by that Grand Entrance. And with Battle Dance, Rakan is very, very slippery, even into something like a Thresh. But if the hook does land, it's very, very punishing for the Rakan.
Absolutely. And all right, back to mid lane right here. They'll trade in the top lane. But yeah, I love seeing a really Chad gangplank there in the mid lane. Azir doesn't actually trade very well into a powerful melee champions. You know, you get a slow off on your barrel, you get the pass there on the proc. That's like 200 damage that he really doesn't have any real way to trade against right there. Only way to heal back up. Mid lanes traditionally don't have any kind of sustain there in the lane. I mean, they don't take grasp like we see the Ornn taking. They don't have the Q from the Renekton. And this all is just like a lot of really impactful poke right here into this guy. Sure, he isn't going to have a strong all-in potentially as the Azir, but he still has so much power to be working with there.
Goes wide, and there's the Grand Entrance. The knockup has landed onto Bobzai. There is no summoner spell being used. Ignite now ticking down on Lanu Velza, but I don't think there's much more to happen as the bottom lane is going forward, but they don't bite, and there is no punish, although you do see Zoro hanging around here. Going into that Tri-Brush, he's going to make the gank happen?
Oh, it's not worded. It's not worded. They don't know. But, I mean, it is an Ezreal, so, can you do anything?
Very patient. We've seen this in all 3 games at this point, right? Looking for that early gank in the bottom lane, and they don't pull the trigger. They're not able to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one thing I noticed here is so much of Gangplank is at least for Papa Boost right now is around sustain, right? Oh, but gank here in the top lane, gotta cut that off for a little bit. Brecken isn't able to make it happen, but now Papa Boost potentially in a pretty bad spot. The fear is being charged up, does go through. There's the cleanse with the oranges, and the auto attacks aren't quite enough. Wow, Tower doing a lot of damage to perma autofill right there. Brecken coming in with the punish does get the base dive. Easy first blood pickup.
Yeah, not what you want right there. Not what you want right there from Zora, running into the jungler at 200 HP, especially someone like that Dark Harvest Echo. That is going to feel very, very bad the later this game goes on. He's not going to pick up too much, I think. He's completed his jungle item and is getting a lost, or what is that? It's a amplifying tome for himself. So a little extra damage right there. No Dark Seal, no spiciness.
He sold it.
Oh, wait, what happened?
He sold the amp tome. He's going for double dagger.
Oh.
Wait, he sold those and he goes back to the amp. Or wait, I'm sorry. I think I was looking at perma autofill. My bad. But still.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
I'm looking at this right here. Whatever. Ooh, bot lane.
yeah, bot lane Bobside does take ever so much more damage, but he's able to sustain through it for the most part. Hasn't gotten this back off yet. But yeah, man, Gangplank is just such a hungry champion, right? He has the drink in the corrupting potion. He has some biscuits in his pocket, and he also has oranges in his kit. He eats a
And
lot.
that is a well-balanced meal right there for a sailor, I gotta say.
It's true.
You know what's not balanced is how much. No, never mind. I don't actually have a way to make that transition. I don't know the amount of healing on his W. I guess would have been a good one.
You know, what I was going to say is like it's actually kind of representative of what a pirate might have eaten. You know, like get the hardtack with the biscuits. You need the citrus for the scurvy.
Was hardtack a thing that pirates ate? I thought that was just
I mean,
like
it
everyone
was
back then
something
ate
that it
hardtack.
was
You
just
know,
normal on ships. But
I
you
guess
know what?
so.
This should not be a naval history discussion. This should be League of Legends.
Nah. People come here for the
Gank coming here
variety.
in the mid lane. They're already forced the flash from Papapoose the first time around. Aren't able to convert that into anything new. I think I did see Perma Autofill ping that Papapoose had used Ignite, at least in the chat. And he still has it available. So potential misplay coming through right there. Death Sentence does find its way onto La Nouvelles. Zaya does get hooked, eating a ton of auto attacks. And wow, there is the GP ult. Cannon Barrage is going through. There is so much damage. The Ignite isn't able to get the final tick, but the double TP coming in now. And are they going to get the stun? Yes, Pandas does get stunned up. The flash forward. There is the grand entrance. But Perma Autofill getting the Emperor's Divide. Easy double kill for the Azir. That's pretty huge for him.
I completely agree. You know, one of the biggest strengths that we've seen here from DGA has been their ability to quickly react to these fights. I mean, we've seen the mid lane take TP in all 3 games right here, and he's been just consistently using that to turn these fights bot lane, get swings for those teams, and turn them into early dragons as well. I believe, no, not game 2, but they're 2 for 3 here on these early first drakes for the game. I think, did they get their first drake there in game 1?
I think. I'm not 100% certain anymore. It was a cloud, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It was a cloud. Yeah, no, I think it went to DGA, but it's so long ago I can't 100% remember. But, you know, 2 quick kills, although the gold lead is roughly, you know, infinitesimal. It's I think very slightly in the favor of DGA at this point. I think that's a lot. That's reflective of primarily the Gangplank just having so much additional farm, but also that first blood going in the favor of Rekka.
Yeah, I completely agree. I gotta say, commenting on that fight there in the bot lane, you know, that was kind of weird that they decided to go for the fight against the BF Sword Zaya when Ezreal only really has his tier. Like, he has a lot of power in that champion's kit, just landing his spells, but you don't have that much power, you know. Mana does not match actual AD in these kind of scenario. But back to builds, though, we actually see the Tiamat being rushed here by that Renekton. Little unstandard, more of a classic kind of build, but not particularly what you want into someone like the Ornn. I really would like to see Blade of the Rune King into Black Cleaver for this kind of thing, you know, frontlining and providing a lot of good power there in the side lane, really just being able to hard match. Almost getting that engage.
I do not hate that Poiba looked to get the interrupt, because you can interrupt the Lantern Dash, but didn't get it to go through that time. Zoro is level 4. Or wait, no, he's level 6. Gosh, I think I did not see that properly. Golly. But anyhow, I was going to say, how is he level 4? That's incredible.
How those glasses doing, man?
I probably should have cleaned them. I actually told myself earlier I need to clean my glasses, but I didn't. But anyway, like you said, the Tiamat's pretty interesting to me, as I agree with you. And Brecken here, he is looking for the gank. Parallel Convergence does not find the stun, and there is no additional knockup, which means there's no more brittle procs. Brecken's eating a lot of damage, and there is the Chrono Break, and it's actually going to be Newtown is now Zoro and Perma Autofill. They show up, and that's another kill using that Emperor's Divide so effectively in DGA. They're now up to a 1k gold lead. And this is kind of a problem that you might say with Gangplank, but here in the bottom lane, oh, the root comes through, the charm as well. Easy kill for La Nouvelles as Poiba finds a fantastic punish with this Rakan.
I completely agree, and I gotta say, you know, again, we've been talking about this, but DGA always just so quick to rotate to these fights, and it really results in just leads there for their team. But again, the team out here on the Renekton, that just does not seem like what you want. Usually against the tank, you can punish that more easily, so you go for something a little bit greedier Whereas you go for the team mat, you're looking to roam mid lane or roam to jungle fights, I guess.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
oh, yeah, like I was gonna say, you can see that really reflected, like already, right? In terms of damage that Liffy is dealing to Newtown, it's very, very minimal. He sliced forward, got the stun through, and then diced out. And I think Newtown lost a like grand total of maybe 200 HP off of all of that, which is not what you want to see as Renekton when you get your combo down. But potential punish here in the mid lane. That's a
oh,
really nice hook. Went through the shuffle, and Brecken, I think he's going to be able to get a kill out of this. Yeah, that's a 600 gold shutdown into the Echo pocket, which feels pretty darn good to get that gold onto one of your primary carries in this game.
yeah, and I gotta say, do you think that Echo's actually gonna be able to carry this? We haven't seen such a strong performance from Ibrecken so far this series. Are we going to see maybe a fight here in the bot lane?
No, doesn't look like that fight happens just because the quickness is not quite available yet for Poiva, and perhaps they think, okay, well, we can punish him, but we can't kill him. Let's not super commit. But to answer the question that you just posed to me, Brecken has been playing very aggressively, but also I think importantly, especially off that early first blood, confidently into the vast majority of DGA here. And not just that, he's comboing now with Bobzai, which can create a lot of opportunities for him, which would be very, very good, like in spite of the previous two games that we've seen.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I completely agree. And we are seeing something here in the bot lane. I don't have a chance to talk.
Bobzai, he does Lantern, flashes back, gets the Flayed down, but the quickness has come back up. Are they going to be able to look for a kill on Brecken? He uses the Chrono Break, now suppressed by Infinite Duress, and Panda's running away again. Forced to flash out, the shift is not available. There's the fear, and that's going to be a dead Ezreal double kill now for Lanuvelza. And Papapoose, this is what I wanted to mention, right? As Gangplank, you can participate in fights with Cannon Barrage, but it's not super impactful.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And we also didn't see a fight happening there mid lane. Zier does have his Nashor's Tooth picked up, a little bit cheaper of an item than a Triforce, so he's going to have a little window to
Oh
expose
gosh,
right
this is
here.
like exactly what
Uh-oh.
happened last time when Bobseye showed up, but it doesn't happen again because the hook doesn't land, and it looks like DGA, they're looking for their second Drake of the game. Parallel Convergence is sticking through. Is the stun going to happen? Yes, but there is
Oh,
no smite. Zoro goes down, but the Dragon going in favor to his team. They have the single stack Mountain and the single stack Cloud, which feels pretty good. I think those, at least in my opinion, are the best two solo stacks. Oh, and the dive happens now in the mid lane as they combo Liffy and Poiba. Liffy forced to flash away from the turret damage, and they look to get out clean. Uh-oh, Call of the Forge God. Is it going to find
uh,
any knockups? Nope. That's
damn,
a lot
Ray
of action.
Charles over here with these Ornn ultimates, just completely whiffing that, unfortunately. But
Gosh.
yeah, yeah, I gotta say, they have a lot of powerful things to be working with on the side of Team Mythic, but Disastrous Gaming, it just seems like they're so much better coordinated here in all of these fights. They're just exactly where they need to be, counter ganking very consistently, applying a lot of pressure where they can on the map, and they just look like a very good team right here. And the score is 3-8. It still is very close, but I think this is an easy game three for DGA.
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. And in addition to what you mentioned there, the gold in this game is definitely going onto the carries, right? Azir 3, 1, and 2. La Nuvelsa 3, 0, 2. Whoa! Flash forward into the grand entrance, gets the charm off as well with the quickness. Are they going to get the kill? No. Pandas actually gets the punish, kills Poiba for the over aggression. Does end up going down though. Poiba maybe a little bit too going a little too hypey around that one. But now here in the mid lane, Papapoose does get shoved back into
Uh-oh.
tower with the Emperor's Divide. The tower shots are doing so much damage,
Oh.
and Perma autofill turns it around.
Yeah,
Didn't
that.
even where's the flash?
Oh, Thresh. No, it's not gonna hit. Yeah, it
No.
feels really bad for gameplay. Like, you're trying to go for these windows, exploit the small little things you'll be able to get for yourself. You see what's happening on the rest of the map. No need for words there. And you go a little too aggressive, you just get a Zero walled under the turret, lose all your HP. As a Yasuo main, that has happened to me a lot right there. Enemy turret, number one enemy in lane. Ooh,
Uh-oh,
but something
Poiba, he
happening
does
here.
eat the stun. Is he going to be able to get out of this? And yeah, this is
Oh,
Zoro. Wasn't even close enough for him to battle dance to. Feels bad. Just to
and
die. like I think he just got back onto the map after coming out of his team space. So
That's a
it
little
doesn't feel
unlucky.
good. Yeah, you can call that unlucky. Um, but yeah, otherwise though, DGA, I think they're still very much in the driver's seat. This will be an Ocean Rift like it was last game, and I think overall in this third game so far, DGA are playing a lot cleaner. So I think they are well positioned, or at the very least on that path to winning this game and closing the series. But I think I reckon he might have some words to say about that 4-2 on the Echo.
I completely agree. I reckon on the Echo, probably the one saving grace over here for Team Mythic. They have not been looking very good at all in any of these lanes for their team. I thought we might see a little bit more from the bot lane over here, from the Thresh and the Ezra. We saw how well it performed over there for Disastrous Gaming, but oof,
Ooh, but
yeah,
here in
no
the mid lane,
damage.
Bobzai, he's going to get punished, gets knocked up, gets suppressed. But in the top lane, action all around. Lithely Foresca is going to die. Brecken nabs another kill for himself. Now 5-2 on this Echo. Take a look at the gold really quickly. 6.4k or in total. I mean, as opposed to Zoro's 5.8. But is that the punish? Oh man, Brecken eating a lot of damage right there. Doesn't have the ultimate available. Able to stay safe because Zoro's ultimate was not up this time around.
Yeah, definitely. Really good play there by the Rakan, stopping that Echo engage. That might have mean burning the ult there on the Xayah. I did think if she did use it, she might have been able to turn a little bit with all those feathers. Ooh, but Azir looking
Ooh,
really
but
big.
now Papa Poos has to walk it away from perma autofill. And, you know, like, also doesn't have Cannon Barrage. Ignite isn't quite up yet, and it's just not a 1v1 he can take unless he baited perma autofill under the tower. Kind of like he did to him.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But the further this one goes on, we have to keep analyzing the condition of the game. Azir and Xayah looking absolutely huge. I don't think that Azir is ever going to get outscaled too hard by that GP. He is probably the hardest scaling champion for his team, but he does not have the resources to really show that. We have a
Yeah.
dragon coming up here in about 15 seconds. I think this is going to be an easy soul point over here for DGA. Usually the third one is traditionally where the late game comp looks to kind of fight, but we're not level 14 yet on the
Ooh,
Ornn. We don't
Panda
have the
eating
item.
so many auto attacks. Is he going to go down? There's the Featherstorm. The pullback isn't enough to put him into the ground. But now Poiba has arrived. The stopwatch has been forced from Bobzai, forced to flash away immediately. TP now being channeled by Newtown. Is he going to arrive? Is he going to call in the Call of the Forge God? No. But he is there for his team. Actually, the Call of Forge God isn't quite up yet, and the dragon has already spawned. But
Yeah.
Pandas, he's so low, and so is Bob's. I think they have to just give it up and let this go to Soul Point.
Yeah, Lilith Foresca, he's doing his best job of zoning this one out, and yeah, they just have no tools to take this.
Yeah, and Brecken, he did go forward, did get the parallel conversions, found the shield, but is he gonna be able to get away? There is the chrono break. He runs back. Oh, wow, that is a
Oof.
surprising amount of damage from the Time Winder, plus the barrels coming in from Papa Poos right there.
Yeah, I gotta say, Papapoose, he's looking so good here in these earlier games. He finally gets his Yoni band away. And even though he's on the GP, probably a much harder champion to pilot, he is still looking very good, trying his best to make anything happen here for his team. 2 deaths at 19 minutes. That's if you're one of my mid laners in solo queue, I'll be happy to get that from you. Especially if you're on a scaling pick. But yeah,
I mean,
we
I
do
would
have.
also say, like, in addition to that, like, the number of times that Zoro ganked him early on, forcing
Oh
the
yeah.
flash on one of them, definitely not the end of the world to only be 0, 2, and 1 on the gangplank.
I completely agree. One thing I do want to comment on here, I'm not entirely sure if Lichbane is really the pickup second item here for Echo. There probably would have been a lot of value in going for something like that Proto Belt, getting a little extra burst to reposition yourself too, especially against someone like a Xayah or an Azir, where they are very squishy and getting a little bit of that is helpful. Like, I don't know. I just have a hard time saying you definitely need a Lich Bane here. You don't even have that much AP to get the scaling with, but you do have a catch shot onto Warwick.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Lich Bane in general is just like this hard damage item that I think most people nowadays see as a luxury
Uh-huh.
more than anything else. And I agree with you about the Proto Belt because in addition to the little dash it gives you and the damage to the AP, it also gives you health and it gives you CDR, which you get out of the Lich Bane, at least in
Yeah.
terms of
It's
CDR.
much cheaper too.
And I think, like, if Brecken really was trying to like hard carry like in this game in solo queue, perhaps the Lich Bane would be a little bit better. But overall, the Proto Belt is just like the more intelligent buy.
I completely agree.
Porous,
Completely
porous
agree.
at work again. We all know it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We are seeing both these teams hover around this Baron right here. It is on the map, but this would probably be the earliest they've taken a Baron so far this
Putting
series.
it through the
Ooh,
tower. Oh no! As now,
oh,
oh gosh,
oh,
and
you're
now
deep. You're a
Bobsai
little
in
deep.
a very bad spot. Zoro almost dies there, but what did they force out? Not much, but Zoro, except for Zoro's flash. Oh, Poiba does eat the death sentence. Is he going to be able to get away? Grand entrance to hook, or sorry, not the hook. The knockup doesn't
Ooh,
land. Nice punish, though, this time from Lanu Velsa. As you can see, now 7-0 and 3 on the Xayah. As the Call of the Forge God is called. Does find knockups, but they can't be followed up on as Papapoose, he's in the bottom lane. Like, this is kind of a side effect of not having TP available. Like, even on someone like Gangplank, if you can join a team fight and somehow get a barrel combo through, it'd be pretty big. But
yeah.
unfortunately, he has the Ignite, did throw down the Cannon Barrage, but that was the limit of his participation in these team fights.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I guess that is kind of the play right here. If you are Papapoose here on the game, like he's a very strong champion here in the side lane. You know, we already saw he was able to get that tower for his team. And if he can just like you do his best to like accelerate himself with all that gold you get from your passive, get maybe if you get to maybe 3 items here on Gangplank, I think he can start being a major carry in these fights. But until then, he just kind of looks like not very not like he's going to be able to do a lot for his team aside from the odd barrel combo and the slow
Ooh.
there from his
Brecken
ultimate.
is here in the top lane. Lithi actually just sliced forward, although Brecken does get spotted out by the ward. But what I would say is, you mentioned that Papapoose potentially hitting 3 items would just be huge, right?
Yeah.
But the soul, right? The dragon that would give soul is coming up in a minute now, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get that item in. Brecken, he's looking for the phase dive forward. It didn't land. There's no death sentence, but the Time Winder does get the slow. But Brecken eating so much damage, and the last
Oh.
crit comes through too. Oh no, that's
Oh.
absolute disaster for the side of Mythic, and now it gets even worse as Pandas is stunned down, does go down. Bobsai as well. Papapoose can't stay alive either, and the only one left on the map for Mythic is Newtown, who's up in the top lane. It looks like okay, yeah, it looks like Perma wanted to do Baron, but the rest of his team was like, dude, just push. But now they look to get towards that Baron, although Soul is coming up in 15 seconds. If and the respawns are already starting to come through for Mythic. This might be chewing off a little bit too much
I
on the
mean,
side of DGA.
yeah, in order to properly punish this right here, Team Mythic would immediately have to go over here to this dragon, which it does look like they are finally doing. But you know,
Yeah,
you're going to
and there's
get the
no TPs
recalls over here
available.
from DGA. They actually don't have their TPs up. They are actually going to stop the backs and immediately go to Drake. I guess they're saying they don't need that fight. They
Ooh.
don't need all that extra stuff right there. They're strong enough to go
That
here and take
cannon
the
barrage to just disrupt and make sure they're slowed, and there's no way they can get in.
Echo doesn't
And
take
I
this too
do
fast
think that
though.
Mythic are going to be able to get this dragon and therefore potentially stall out the soul, stall out the game. Although the engage has happened, Battle Dance and going forward, Lithi Foresca does go forward as well. Another kill into Lanu Velsa's pocket as he's now 11-0 and 3 on the Xayah. And Brecken getting very low, able to get out though. No more final auto attacks for him. And, overall, they lost Baron, sure, but off the back of that, they're able to deny the soul. They get Lithi Floresca down too. So not the worst of situations for Mythic. The absolute nightmare of a situation would have been losing Baron and losing Soul.
Oh yeah, definitely. They actually played it beautifully. I didn't think they would have had the coordination to really immediately send their respawns over to that dragon, but I reckon knows exactly what he had to do right there on his Echo. Meanwhile, we do also see some pretty big pickups right here. We don't have the Triforce just yet here for the Ezra, which would be absolutely huge, but we have Yomu's actually for GP. Going to be giving him a lot more tools to work with in these fights. Now, they are going to be against the Baron here for the next few minutes on several members of the side of DGA, but I think that they're going to have a lot of tools to defend this base. They have good wave clear in the Echo, in the GP, in the Ezreal, but I think this game is just going to be going to the next dragon. They're not going to make too much happen here in the next 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard for Mythic to play this out, right? Newtown is getting tankier and tankier. He does have both of his Ornn items completed. Otherwise, the carry is really just Ibrechen, right? Papapoose only has the 2 items complete, although, okay, upgraded Yomu's does feel a bit better, and up to 40% CDR now as well, so that's pretty big for every single Gangplank ever. Otherwise, Muramana coming through for Pandas as well. Maybe these new item breakpoints are going to mean more and more, but it's hard to keep up in the face of Baron pressure, although it's not there in the top lane anymore because Lithi already lost it off to death in the Dragon.
Yeah, let's look at some of these Ornn items right now, actually. You of course get the Infernal Mask and Forge Fire Cape on Ornn himself, but the Yomu's being upgraded for that GP. That gives you 25 lethality as opposed to the 22 on Yomu's, 20 on Yomu's, 22 on Duskblade. I believe. I'm not entirely sure. I think that is the correct move to go instead of the Triforce. You just want as much damage as possible when we're trying to come back from this lead. I do think Ezreal is going to have to get his Trinity Force upgrade, which does kind of suck. He doesn't really have too many good options aside from Blade of the Rune King for upgrades. But, maybe this little extra burst of power is what they need.
There is the engage. Brecken getting suppressed, goes into the Zanyas, but charmed up immediately afterwards. Or was it Stopwatch? It was Stopwatch, I think. But either way, very, very frustrating. Wait.
There's no Stopwatch in the game.
No, okay, no, it was his chrono break. That's why he went untargetable. Like, I was wondering, okay, he went untargetable. What happened there? But yeah, so he used the chrono break, try to stay alive a bit longer, but now this carry is not alive on the map. Although DGA, they all opted to back after killing the enemy team's biggest carry. So I guess all's well after that.
I keep giving ways that Team Mythic can come back into this game, but at the same time, I spend a little bit more time looking at the numbers, and I am reminded that we have an 11-4, 3.5 items right here. It's 8-20, 10k gold lead. It's just like they could have ended this game by now, probably if they went for more fights, but they're just delaying the inevitable. It just kind of seems like.
Like unironically, right? La Nuvelsa has 3 items, really 3.5 items completed. On the other side, Pandas has 2 items completed.
Oh, yeah.
If you take a look at the gold, Pandas is 8.8k, while La Nuvelsa is already at 13k. It's a huge amount of gold that's on this Zaya, and it's really hard to deal with if you're Mythic.
Yeah, 5.5 freaking K as the meme goes right there. But speaking of memes, we have Soul Dragon. That's not really a meme. I don't know why I made that analogy. We have Soul Dragon come up here in just a second. I think this should be an easy fight over here for DGA. I mean, it would take a miracle for Team Mythic to be able to steal this one away. Man, I don't think you can even go for a fight, man. They're just so
there's
strong.
Just so much damage that's available at this point. And, we were talking about how Ibrechen is like the biggest carry on the side of Mythic, but even in spite of that, he's 2 levels down against Zoro, right? That's a full 100 damage on your smite that's not available, and that's just very, very difficult to deal with. Mythic, they need a perfect fight going onto this Soul, potentially, for DGA.
Yeah, definitely. They are looking like they have the tools to make this one happen. They need to look for the fight over here on Team Mythic. That's the only way you can go.
Barrage has come out as well at the Call of the Forge God and the Parallel Convergence. Who's going to get the Dragon? And it's the Soul going over to DGA. They are completely smashing away this fight. Bob's Eye has already gone down. Now Newtown and Ibrechen as well. Papapoose falling at the very end of it as well. And now Pandas, he can't stay alive. There's no way he shifts to safety. But I don't think he can hold against the tide that is DGA, and they are looking to close this game out. And he can't survive versus the Warwick. The movement speed from the Blood Scent gets the final member of Mythic. The rest of DGA, they're in that mid lane. They take down the inhibitor. They're onto the Nexus Towers. And that's going to be the game. That's going to be the series for Disastrous Gang Academy.
Yeah, nothing disastrous about this win right here. It looked very, very clean in basically all these games. Game 2 was a little bit closer, but boy, a 12-0 Zaya just kind of seemed like team difference right here. 13. These guys were amazing with how they played.
Yeah, La Nuvelsa getting that final kill in, going from 12 to 13. And yeah, that was I think that might have been the most dominant game, even though it wasn't the fastest, that being the first one. But yeah, the Xayah just scaled up so hard. They funneled so much gold onto La Nuvelsa. Perma Autofill doing quite a lot himself, being 7-1-7 on the Azir. Actually out-damaged the Xayah by 800.
Oh, wow. Yeah, very, very close here. I mean, they are two big DPS scaling carries. The one advantage I would say is that Azir was laning into a melee champion, meaning he could go for a lot of cheeky extra damage earlier, but that's maybe like 1,000, 2,000 over the course of the first 10 minutes, especially when you consider the amount of engage opportunity that both the supports had in the bottom lane. But yeah, just an absolutely insane game over here from both these teams. And I gotta say, at the end of the day, I think the series was won by just the amount of roaming power that Team Disastrous Gaming Academy had and that they prioritized for themselves. We saw every single fight bot lane, the double TP, always coming in from the mid and top laner. That's very, very good coordination. It really speaks to how well these players know how to play together and how practiced they are at that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like DGA, they seem so coordinated, not just with those double TPs, but also with the level ones.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. However, it looks like we are going to have an interview with the star 80 carry of this series, La Nuvelsa, coming in here in just a second. Can we get him dragged into the channel? Hey. Oh, he's muted. La Nuvelsa, are you there? Hey, there he is.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
So, congratulations, man. You just won the Void group off of a very, very dominant performance on the Xayah. So, you know, walk me through it a little. Like, tell me, like, how were you feeling coming into this series?
I wasn't really worried or anything because, honestly, I'm typically from the main roster, actually. I played for
really?
the original DG.
The
and
OG.
Because the Academy ADC couldn't make it today, that's why I had to step in for him.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So you are the sub that cost your team the 3 bans in all these games?
Yeah.
Okay. Just confirm. So I wanted to ask you a little bit for that. Did you really anticipate this being that, I don't want to say easy of a series. Game 2 looked a little bit close, but you were just so dominant on your AD carry performance. Did you expect it to go this way?
In some sense, maybe I thought they could take a game off of us because I was really surprised they actually beat, who's the other team that they beat in the semifinal? Is it Team Refugees? TGR?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure.
TGR Refugees, they beat them.
Yep.
So we were really surprised because we thought TGR was actually better than them in some sense. And they actually surprised us.
I think I got another question right here. We were talking a little bit in the analyst desk about how some of the strategies you pulled off to get those leads early. Do you think it was like those double TPs that you constantly made bot? Do you credit your win to that kind of a strategy specifically, or was there something else going on here that you think your team was a lot better at than Team Mythic?
I guess overall, how should I put this? I don't know.
What do you think your strong points were from the team? I should ask. What made you OP?
I guess it was just the shot calling in some sense, but in some sense, at the same time, the shot calling is also messy. But like, I guess you could sort of factor in player difference. I don't want to say player difference, but
I don't know. Papu's on that Yoni game too looked especially strong. Were you guys sweating that?
I think their mid laner looks like he looked quite promising in those games. I think it was fine on the Yone actually.
Okay, True Light, what do you got?
Honestly, I feel like you covered all the bases there, Danielson. Otherwise, you know, what's next on the table? Also, I know you said you're the sub, so like, you know, what are you gonna do next after? Are you gonna go to Disney World or something?
If I even could right now, but I don't think that's happening because I live in Canada.
Open. Oh, Canada. R.I.P. dude.
Okay.
Yeah. Not likely to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was really nice talking to you. Any other questions you got, True Light?
No. But congratulations on your win, taking a very clean 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that was the finals over here from Style Esports Season 4 playoffs. 3-0 victory from Disastrous Gaming Academy over Team Mythic. This was the Void series. This was an easy 3-0 in a best-of-5 series. I gotta say, it was a really fun series to watch. We saw twists, we saw turns, but ultimately the better team came out on top. Any other final words you have, Trulet, before we go ahead and nix this broadcast?
No, you definitely covered every single bit of it right there. But, you know, this definitely wasn't the end of the streaming for Style. I know there's more to come. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and I hope you all have a good night.